Want to thank our sponsor, Parati's Quality Meats, located in Cranford, New Jersey, serving customers all over New Jersey for the past 50 years. Welcome, everyone. Week 9, Coach's View from the Sideline, and we are the Shore Football Report. That's Coach Hoadley. I'm Coach Davis. We're going to have some fun and talk some football somewhere in between 10 minutes and 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
A little closer maybe to the 2 hours than the 5 or 2 minutes, whatever. But that's that. There's too much to talk about in the short conference. We are winding down to the stretch run for the state playoffs. Who makes it, who doesn't make it, and some important games this week. Of course, there were very important games last week, and we just got a lot to say. I am going to say this one thing though. The picks that we did last week, and I just want to say I'm sorry. And if you need somebody to talk to, I'll text you my number because you're supposed to get more right than wrong. That's the first thing you got to do, right?
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I'm throwing a little salt in the wound a little bit right now, but there were a lot of tough games.
My worst week.
You can say that about a lot of the guys on our staff. D. Pasquale 14-5. You were a steady 12-7. The fan vote lapped you and went 13-6. And Germano, I think, had to cheat. He was cheating with you and had 12-7. But there was one guy in front again. And there were 19 games, and I couldn't sleep on Saturday night because those two games really affected me because I want to be perfect. 17-2. Woo! Ric Flair. 17-2. I'll tell you what, it's not perfect, but you know what? It's pretty close. It's pretty close. Neptune and Vienna, I got those games wrong. 17-2, Coach. It feels good.
I don't have any words. There's when you lose, you lose. When you win, you win. You're obviously.
I gloat.
I did not win well this week. With my picks, you did. Eat the humble pie, move on. Let's go to next week.
Yeah, that's what guys that usually say that go 12-7.
That's right.
Let's just shut it in but guys who go 17-2, they wanna talk about it a little bit. And there were some tough coach. There were some tough games. There were some tough games to pick. There really were. I really sympathize for you.
But there were some tough games that went either way down in the last couple minutes. Yeah.
I think Las Vegas may call me, and I might give them the odds for this week, too. Mm-hmm. So, but there were some great games, Coach, and I was at one of them. Lacey Central at Lacey. The rivalry, Thanksgiving rivalry, was being played during week 8, and they did not disappoint anybody. The atmosphere was tremendous. I mean, I got there an hour before, and they were parking on the streets. The place was packed. The student sections on both sides were going back and forth with respect.
Right.
That's more important. It was just a great atmosphere, and the football game was no different. Battle 17-7 right to the end. Great sportsmanship on both teams. A lot of respect by both coaching staffs and players. Overall, it was very nice to be watching a game like that. It really was. I coached for Lacey many, many years. Well, 20-something years ago, and I know what that rivalry means to both towns, and it was a great game to watch. It really was. Where'd you go?
What before we get to my game, what was when we both talked about Rumson RBC the week before, what was the resounding thing that you took out of that Lacey Central game that really stood out?
Honestly,
among everything, yeah.
Central had 27 snaps the whole game. Coach Versillo, all right, Coach Versillo, traditional Lacey football, you're not getting the football. 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, first down, and just held on to the ball. All you got to say is 27 snaps they had Central. They controlled the whole game, but they did it in a way where they were just frustrating Central because they couldn't get the football.
Correct, because you can't get it right. Now you're forcing them to have to take chances they would normally have because they're taking out of their game plan, so to speak.
And Coach Warren Smith, the OC, wanted to throw the ball. He came up to me after the game. He goes, "Coach, come here." So we were talking. He goes, I was playing really tight, close to the vest. He was bummed out because he wanted to air it out a little bit. I said, "Look at that scoreboard. See Coach Versillo? Look how happy he is." That's all that counts, man. You win, you win. Don't worry about the passing yards or anything like that. A win overcomes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Especially when you play a rival school. That was a great game. Now, what game did you go see?
So I went and saw Homedale versus Freehold Borough at Homedale Friday night.
Good game. Good game.
And it was a back and forth game. Freehold surprised a lot of people by taking Kamor Gill out at quarterback, put him out at slot, and then they ended up putting Spencer Rushton in at quarterback and keeping Yasin Calhoun in the backfield. So now Gill gave them something that they really did not see. And trust me, they use him. He is such an special, electrifying athlete once the ball is his hands. I mean, he has such twitch to him when he moves. It's really impressive to watch. But Homedale got back to their game plan too. Kept the ball on the ground, didn't panic. Jaden Gallo had a good game.
Yeah, he's good.
It was a 7-point game up until the last couple minutes of the game. That's when they expanded it to 34-21. But it was a 28-21 game. It was a good game, but Freehold looked good.
Yeah. Kamor Gill has been the quarterback, and they use him as a dual threat, run and pass. He'll be a thousand kid.
Oh, it's amazing.
But at receiver, he had 11 catches, 21 yards or 129 yards. Could you imagine him going 1,500?
Yeah.
Just says a lot about how athletic he is.
Kudos to Freehold. I mean, they did things with him that you haven't normally seen on tape or scout, and they exploited it, and they did well with it.
Yeah, I have the linebacker's name I've been mispronouncing for the past 8 weeks.
Tyler? Yeah.
Ohoyski. Tyler Ohoyski.
All over the field.
Listen, I might mess up his name, but I'm not going to mess up on how good he is. He had 20 tackles. The kid's a stud. Yeah.
Yeah, he was all over the field, especially in that type of offense that Homedale runs, which is so heavily predicated on the offensive line getting a push up front and trying to clog those holes up. Really good game.
Yeah. So, Coach, today we're going to talk about when we break off, we're going to do our recap of last week's games. We are going to do the coaches' top 20, new teams in, other teams moving around. Then we're going to talk briefly on state playoff. Who looks like they're in, who looks like they're out, and Gridiron, which everybody goes by, moved the PowerPoints 3 different times today. Yeah, because they're changing forfeits and all that stuff. So it's going to come down to the last game. Maybe a series here or there might affect the whole bracket on who you're playing, who's in, who's out with that. Then we'll do a coach's talk with somebody who we both respect. Coach Kaz, the Hall of Fame coach from Shore Regional, having an outstanding year, 6-1 coach. He's currently the number 2 seed when they break up into the 8-field bracket. And I'm going to say this to him again. I've said it all the time. I think this is his best coaching job he's done in years on what he's done. A real young team built around Jamie Mazzocco.
How young he
What's up?
was,
yeah. So
team, he admitted to that.
Yeah. So, and then after that, we'll break down week 9 games, and we'll do that. Coach, the theme for this weekend, though, is raindrops keep falling on my head. It's going to rain. Now, as a head coach, I like to throw the football. And you can't do it probably this week because it's going to be raindrops, flooded all over.
As a defensive coach, you love the rain.
Excellent. Yep, great.
Love the rain.
Oh, I love it. We played a team. I'm not going to say which school did it, but we were pretty fast one year. And I heard they were watering down the field like puddles. All right. And it was a parochial school. Let's just say that. And they were watering down the field because we were really fast years and years and years ago. And it was going to be 80 degrees during our game time. But we get there and the field was puddles. And they blamed it on the sprinklers. But, let's just say they did it manually, all right, with that. So
that sounds like what happened with the Jets and the Dolphins back in '80 with Walt Michaels and Shula. And Shula went downfield in Miami because they knew the Jets had free McNeil, and they walked into like a puddle storm. How would happen? Yep.
Coach, I was coaching at Lacey, and we were playing Howell. Howell had the grass field. It was muddy. It was so muddy, and we threw the ball a lot that year. I think we threw for like 1,800 yards that year. And the old saying is, when the ground is wet, the advantage, because it wasn't raining, the advantage is to the receivers because you know where you're going. But
Right.
the timing, when you're in a gun, the quarterback catches it, he one step, he's already made his drop. It's not affecting him that much. But for a receiver in the gucky mud that was going on, we are not getting to the point where the timings was way off. So we kept missing. We just kept missing and missing and missing, and it took us off our game because we had that sticky feet and we weren't getting more.
Right. So it slowed the timing pattern.
It slowed the timing down big time. But for the quarterback, he catches, he's ready to throw it, and the timing was way off with that. So now that most teams have turf, it's fine. But some teams that have grass, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I've been on both sides of the ball with that one.
I mean, everybody loves to say, to win championships, you got to be able to run the football downhill and all that. But if you don't have the horses to do that, and you have to run your jet sweeps or your pitches, and you're running laterally in the grass with mud, coach, it's going to affect you. And there's some teams out there that do a lot of the jet sweeps and want to get the perimeter and then turn the shoulders late, but you can't. It takes away from their offense effectiveness a little.
I agree with that, especially if you're even if you're taking the jet sweep concept, which I know it, red light, green light, yellow light type of jet sweep, when you're going to break it back quicker, take it all the way width to the sideline, and so forth. When now you can't stop the plant, and you're going that fast. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
Especially if if a defense knows what they're doing, they're just going to press up really quick, so you're not going to be able to get that quick cut or that quick step off the grass. You can't do it.
And then the big thing is,
besides talking about that, if I could jump on the soapbox really quick, because you touched on it really quickly, and I'm sure you being a true football guy like myself, this season has been kind of disappointing. And what I mean by that is you just touched on gridiron, how they've just came up with three different seeds of PowerPoints of how they jockeyed around. And then there's, the parochials are reseeding.
Oh, don't get me started with that crap.
Talking about, this is such and such on the field, but this is such and such a record. Then we started off the season with coaches. We were going to have a short conference playoff pod format. And then out of the blue, out of nowhere, within 7 days, we just completely scrapped that idea. And we're just going to do it. To me, it's getting away from what you and I have always been around for. Listen, this is your schedule. Yeah. This is what you plan on. This is how you coach for. And it's almost like you're throwing dice against the wall, see what rolls out. Okay, that's what's going to work. It's just really different for me this year,
Coach, we're going to talk about the playoffs later, but I have one gripe. The non-public, which is the parochials, they reseed. So what they do is in the public school, your order 1, 2 by your PowerPoints. In the private school, they actually go into a meeting and they seed it. They don't go by the PowerPoints. That's bullcrap. That's bullcrap.
And not every team is equally represented in that meeting either.
It's bullcrap, Coach. It's bullcrap.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm sick of that. There's different rules for parochial than the public. If that's the case, then let the public, out of the 16 teams, reseed them to. If you're doing it for them, then you got to do it for the public school because it's BS. They still have the same PowerPoints. They can just follow that. But no, you know what they're afraid of? They're afraid of Bergen Catholic and Don Bosco playing a little bit earlier than at the end of the finals.
Correct.
And it's bullcrap, Coach. It's bullcrap.
100%.
In South Jersey too, if West Stepford and Haddonfield played week 2 in the playoffs, big deal. But with the parochials, God forbid the big power schools played, and you know what they would claim? Well, we played a tough schedule non-conference, so our schedules are a little different. Tough crap. Good. I don't care if I lose a viewer from Bergen Catholic or whatever. I don't care. But that's bullcrap, Coach. The private schools.
From day one doing this job, I would never be hypocritical about it.
Coach,
I know the positives and the negatives.
I am so sick and tired of the total BS that's allowed by the top level people in the state. Why do they get away with certain things, or why are rules differently for some people and not from others? It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. Why can't you reseed? There are times that we might be a real good football team, but maybe be the 7th seed out of an 18 pool.
Correct. Correct. Yep.
But in the private school, oh, don't worry about it. You'll just move up if we represent you right in a meeting and do all that stuff. It's bullcrap because the state listens too much to the parochials in North Jersey, and they do what they want. They do what they want, and that's not right. And it's obvious. Why you reseed? It's bullcrap, coach. So give you an example. All this forfeit that Don Bosco got means bullcrap in their seating meeting because they're going to go, well, you're good. I don't care if you have 4 losses. We're going to seed you here. And that's what's going to happen. So it's bullshit. So excuse my language, but I don't care. It's my show. Good.
Rob, good. I'm with you, Brian.
It's bull. It really is. It really is. I don't like that at all. One bit. It gets me fired up. The other thing is this, coach, that I'm fired up about is that, the state has these rules. Well, when you have rules and you break them, what's the repercussion? What's going to happen? Recruiting. Well, you can't recruit. We know you can't, but what happens if you do? We don't hear about anybody getting in trouble, coach. Right? Illegal addresses. What happens if you break the rules? What happens? Nothing. So if they don't, broadcast what the repercussions are or have it in writing, then why are we fearful of it? Why? It's bullcrap.
Why does it always come down to, okay, well, they're going to have a meeting with the coaches and the athletic director have to go down to Robbinsville to sit down there for a meeting, and then you find out what the decision is made there. Wait a second. We all come in an education system, right? We all have a faculty handbook and a student handbook, right? That has a discipline chart, right, Rob? Mm-hmm. You do this. The discipline is right there. What do you mean I have to wait for the coaches to go down to Robbinsville to have a meeting to figure out what's going on? And then we come out and we find out, okay, there's going to be a 3-game sanction where the head coach can't coach. But if you go to practice, he just can't coach. And wait a second, where's the rules? Where is the rules?
I'm hearing some, I don't want to mention teams, but there was a fight last week, and now now they can't play in the state playoffs, and they're fighting it. It's real simple. It says it in the rules. 3 people ejected, you're done.
You're banned.
You're done. Right. There's no appealing. You get into a fight, you don't deserve the right to play in the state playoffs. Get off the field, right? And take care of your business. It's ridiculous, coach. I'm sick of it. There's a lot of rules there that need to be reinforced and stuck to. And then other people want to, break a rule and then try and get a second opinion. It's bull. It's bull.
I agree.
Don't get me started with that stuff. All right, because I'm ready.
I'm glad that we got our passionate side out of us right now.
Oh, I'm ready, coach, because I hear it. My phone rings off the hook when I hear complaints and this and that, and coach, what happens if this happens? I don't have the answer. I don't know if there's an illegal thing going on. What's going to happen? What's the state going to do? It's just, it's not black and white. It's just.
Oh, it's absolutely not black and white.
But all I know is that with my athletic director, when he told me, what the rules are, to me, being a police officer's son, rules mean you can't do it. I won't do it. I'm not going to look and see, well, what happens if I do it? So maybe I'll do it. No, just like speeding. If that's 50, I tell my wife, I go 45. I'm not going 52, 55. That's bad. Right. I have to say that on air. Good. All right.
I'm with you. I got you.
All right. So. Let's get going. Let's get right into the recap. All right. I know you. I know you're gutting it out for me right here. You're a team player, man. Right? You ready?
I got out of the hospital a couple hours ago. Took a bad fall, and came down and hurt some ribs, hurt the shoulder a little bit. They sent me home with some half-ass sling. I'm not wearing that. Can't do that. But gut it out. That's what we do.
Yeah. Well, we did our injury report. You were questionable.
You can't just tell our players to do it when you got to preach it yourself.
You were questionable for today's interview.
You can't make me. Listen to me. You got to make you can't make me laugh. That hurts.
All right, let's get going. All right, Coach, let's go with the recap from last week's games, which were Week 8. Some outstanding games, matchups that were placed by the committee, by the committee. And here we go.
Correct.
Number one RBC versus number 6 Manalapan, 47-7. Coach, this wasn't even a contest. Red Bank Catholic was rolling against a very good public school, big school, Manalapan, 47-7. Alex Brown had 4 total touchdowns. They divvied up the football. Torrin Harmon, the junior running back who got cleared 2 weeks ago, he ran for 138 yards and a touchdown on only 7 carries.
Yeah.
He is a stud. He really is.
Yep.
That's nice to add to the depth of running backs that they have. They ran for 335 yards on 11.1 carries, Coach. So they looked real good with that. And Manalapan's a good football team, Coach. They really are.
Absolutely.
Coach Lepore has got them going. But don't get me started. I really believe that we got to do something. We got to change something in the short conference. We really do. And I'm going to talk about that next week. But we need to change some stuff up. And these are like all-star teams. These parochials right now are all-star teams.
We've said it before, and I don't mind saying it. Create a non-public division.
Yeah. No, how about
That's
this?
it.
Coach, can I say this?
Forget it.
You can't say division because in the bylaws, division. Just put independent and do what you want. Go do what you want.
Right.
Play your games. But what's going on is that it's becoming an all-star team, and it's not fair. It's just not fair. We can only coach the guys in our hallways, public schools, in our science rooms, our math rooms. And then you guys, all right, can get a quarterback from another town or this and that. Boy, that must be great. Because there are years I needed a quarterback or a tailback or a left guard. I have to knock down the walls in our hallways. I wish I could go to the next town or to someone else's town and do that. But
the amazing thing is, though, Coach, this is really you getting to the world of short conference football the last 6, 7, 8 years. If you would say anything, let me just say it. And I don't mind saying it. How good has St. John girls basketball been over the last 30 years?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty damn dominant. They got several tournament of championships, but they play in the same division as Red Bank, Raritan every year and beat those folks. But nobody said a word about girls basketball.
Yeah. How
much has CBA dominated boys cross country? Dominant, but nobody talked about CBA. But then when it comes to the world of football, now all of a sudden it's, you can't do that. You can't. Well,
can I say something? Can I interject one thing? If St. John Vianney girls basketball is playing a team, okay, yeah, you're beating us in points. But in football, the physicality of the sport is a safety issue. You could play somebody in basketball and lose 110-0, and God forbid they touched you, there's a foul. In football, every play you're getting touched. Every play you're getting out muscled. And that's the problem.
I can't argue that. I agree with that.
That's a problem.
Look out and protect. Yeah,
I'm talking about the safety of the football players in the short conference. There's a big discrepancy between some teams. And you're talking about Manalapan, that was the number 6 team in the Shore. 6. And they're going to contend for a state title, Coach. They are. They are this 100%. Year. Played
home,
Red Bank Catholic.
At home.
Yeah. And played Red Bank Catholic 47-7. It's just not fair. It's not fair. And listen, I'm kind of complimenting both sides. I want it to work. I would love to see RBC and Donovan do their thing and have fun and do their thing. But don't play the public schools then, because you can't. Right. It's not the same rules, Coach.
We've said that, Rob.
How great of a coach would I be if I could get a quarterback or a running back every year for somewhere else? I wouldn't lose. Right. Come on. But don't get me started with that. And I want both sides to work. I want RBC, all the private schools to be able to do what they're doing and play those guys who are doing the same thing, and the public schools to play the guys who they're doing the same thing with. And then everybody's good because they're all good guys. They're all good guys. I have no problem with that, but I do have a problem with different kind of set of rules that we can do and what others can do. And then they play each other, and then your kids get hurt. Because when we played you a couple years ago, we were undefeated, feeling pretty good about ourselves. But when that whistle blew, there was not even a contest. And our kid broke his thumb in that game. and it just crushed our momentum of our season. Good.
I still remember it. Tight end, defensive end Morris. I still
Yep.
remember it.
Yeah. Number 2, Rumson, 12-7 versus number 4, Middletown South. Rumson's just playing everybody.
And we predicted this was going to be an absolute defensive game here.
And we were right. We were right on that.
Yeah.
Colin Kennedy is he's as steady as anybody has been this year, and he plays within the system. Reminds me of a Jim McMahon. Remember Jim McMahon for the Bears?
Of course.
Kind of was like the heart and soul of the team. Didn't have a lot of great stats, but he was a winner. Colin Kennedy's a winner. He's a winner. Yeah. Played against a good defensive team in Middletown South themselves. 12-7 is not a bad game for either team to be playing. Could have gone either way. Kennedy was in charge of 2 touchdowns, a 47-yard run, and also a 31-yard touchdown pass. Plays to their defense, and both teams are going to be in the big playoff picture, Coach. This
1,000%
next 2 weeks really are. But that's 2 short conference powers battling it out. 12-7 game, exciting game for the people that I heard that were there. Number 3, Donovan Catholic played number 9, Southern Regional, 42-7. And again, those are 2 teams, Red Bank Catholic, Donovan, they're going to play each other. But they played big Group 4 school. Southern Regional, it's a big Group 4 school. They're a good football program, well coached, And, Donovan Catholic just, Jalen Butler, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns on 10 carries.
Yeah.
Threw for 104, 2 touchdowns. The kid Bukla ran for 133 yards on 14 carries. Coach, they're doing this against the Southern defense. That's one of the tops around.
Correct.
I'm trying to just say, like, this is how big of a difference it is right here. And again, the athletic directors are saying, well, there's nobody else to play. Is that the right answer? Here it is. You got to think out of the box, because just saying, well, you have to play him because there's nobody else is not the answer. It's just not the answer. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you're right, because you're part of the 42 schools. You have to. You won the pick to do it. No, we have to come up with a better way of making more competitive games for both parties, Coach, for both parties.
Right. And to use that word you just said,
what party?
They tried to set up games that were going to be very competitive this week, similar to the pod games. But the 2 parochial games that you just showed so far compared to the one public, the public was 12-7. The 2 parochials was 47-7 and 42-7.
And both teams were both in the top 10. Yeah.
And they're all top 6.
Yeah. Again, I'm pretty worked up. Number 7, Wall beat number 8, Middletown North, 42-14. This tells me that Wall is starting to get their mojo back. I know Coach said Charlie Sasso is coming back. They're going to get Riley back maybe next week. And, they're right back where they were in the beginning of the season. They're feeling good about themselves. The kid Matt Dolliv is really starting to become a pretty good playmaker offensively. Had over 120 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Akil Gaines had a big day, had an interception for a touchdown. I think he had 2 interceptions for the day. So different guys are also shining, but they're getting their mojo back. Steve Bush's Middletown North team is a very good football team that's 5-2, but knocked into Wall, who's starting to hit their second win because it's playoff time, Coach.
But Mid-North was right there. It was 14-14 at halftime. Yeah. They were there. It's just that Wall with the coach staff, with Coach Grandetti and the rest of them over there, I know, make some adjustments second half, during halftime, come out, execute. But I agree with you. I think you said it. Wall is starting to make that move now, where it's getting to their time of season. They're going to be ready to prime to go.
I wouldn't
not to slight Middletown. Middle's got a special season ahead of them.
I don't want to play Wall. I mean, Wall's got 3 losses and is going to be right where they want to be in the playoffs. Probably a 2 seed.
I was going to say sit right there. Yeah.
Probably a 2 seed. Coach Manasquan, number 10, played rival number 12 Point Barlow, 35-30. Exciting game. two different style offenses and defenses were playing. Brett Patton, 4 more touchdowns accounted for. Cole Kozlowski had a great game, 3 catches. I think he had 100+ yards. He was all over the field, made some plays. He really did. Pendergast, the wide receiver, also had a big game. I know he's has a little nagging injury. Played real well. Again, Point Burrow was clicking right up to this game, and that was two teams that I can see moving to at least the second round of the playoffs. So two quality football teams playing against each other, an exciting, high-scoring offensive game, Coach.
Yeah, this was a game I wish I could have gone to. I really want to see it. I mean,
I know.
we've talked about the Patton kid at quarterback. He shined obviously on the spotlight. Big time players make big plays in big games. 4 touchdowns against a high profile Point Barrow team. But Point Barrow got their points too. They did what they were supposed to do. They ran, but obviously Manasquan with that type of offense, they could put points up, and it's starting to prove every week now that they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not carrying the ball 50 times because they're doing the RPO.
No.
So Coach
Yep.
Coach Sella, the OC, doesn't know exactly where the ball is going just because he trusts the reads of Patton. And
Yeah.
they have playmakers. Jameer
Yeah.
Howard, a kick return. I think it was his second kick return touchdown of the season. He's a playmaker at running back. But Coach, when they need to run the football, they have it. I think they may take out the RPO. Maybe Coach Price might say, take out the RPO and let's just pound it. They can do that. But they also showed they could spread the ball around to different weapons out there. And that's that.
Absolutely.
And that was a good football team they played against Point Barrow, giving them their first loss in a rival game. Very, very good football game with that. Coach, and I went to the game, number 13. Lacey beat number 11, Central, 17-7, 27 snaps. Lacey only had a cover against Central, 27 snaps. So Gumprick he had a big 76-yard touchdown run or 79-yard touchdown run. But other than that, I think he just got 21 more yards. He got 100 yards on 8 carries. You can't score if you don't have the football. Lacey was very physical. I think they won the point of attack on offense and defense at the line of scrimmage. That's what Coach Frasil likes to play is tough defense and ball control offense. Doesn't like to throw the football. Been there, done it, Coach. Been there, done it with him. So, but you know what? Great atmosphere. Just really great atmosphere. Two well-coached football teams. Two teams that also may find themselves playing each other maybe in the second round of the playoffs.
States, yep.
Yep. That would be an interesting game. It really will. We're there. Coach, number 14, Shore Regional, 23-8 versus Red Bank. Coach Fallon lost to Coach Costantino. Two good coaches, two Hall of Fame coaches. We're going to hear Coach Cos talking to probably 25 to 30 minutes. This team just is surprising me each week. They're getting better and better. And I actually was looking back at my notes, and I even watched his video of the summer, talking about his team and how young they are. And now they're starting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got sophomores that are playing probably in the beginning of the year, maybe a year a little early, but now they're veterans. They're experienced sophomores is what I should say, with an outstanding three-way player because he's a special team. He got special team defense, special team player of the week in the Patriot division, Jamie Mizako. He kicks field goals too.
I know. Yeah.
When somebody, God forbid, tackles him, he kicks the field goal. He does it all. Yeah. I got to ask Kaz if he actually holds the field goal too. That's a question. I'm curious. He does everything else.
Yep.
Right? It's a very, very well-coached football team that's starting to make plays now, making his job a little easier with that. Jackson Whitaker. Remember that name? Jackson, remember you were talking about my guy that I had a couple years ago, Sean Morris? This kid, Jackson Whitaker, looks like Sean Morris as a senior. Big, strong kid. DN, outside defensive end, tight end. 9 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 for losses. He got defensive player of the week overall. Outstanding guy, great edge guy, Coach. Great edge guy. We'll talk more about Shore later on. We really will. A lot to talk about with them. How about Raritan? 40-28 versus the number
This,
15 ranked team, Asbury
this was a
Park.
little bit of a surprise for me here.
I don't know if it was or not. It was one of those games that if it went either way, I had an answer for it. Like, aha, I told you, and
Yeah,
Raritan starting to recover from Red Bank Catholic game. And you got to
yeah,
understand when you play a parochial coach, you were on the other end, the limps, they go away a little bit after 2 or 3 weeks. And they're
yeah,
getting a healthy Raritan. They are. Their offense is dynamic with Falzon and Hutchinson, and now Calicari's back and
yeah.
what's his name? Campanera. Um, but Asbury Park's explosive too, and this was a Group 1 school playing a top level Group 2 school.
Top group 2.
Yeah. I don't think Asbury Park should have played Raritan in a competitive game. I don't think it's fair for a Group 1 to be playing that type of level. I mean, at some point, you got to feed them, they're Group 1. Sometimes you forget they're Group 1. They have 22, 23 kids on the team.
I agree with you.
Asbury Park's good. Asbury Park's well coached. They're good. They got athletes. It just happened to be maybe the guys in the trenches. Raritan just had a little bit more girth to them, and was able to beat them 40-28. Falzon had 5 touchdowns and ran for over 230 yards, and kind of outscored them in a big playoff game for PowerPoints. It really was nothing to be ashamed about with Asbury. Hopefully they're not injured, but I don't know. There's some games I just didn't like.
Does Raritan really gain a lot of PowerPoints from winning this game against a Group 1?
What? Right.
Does Raritan really gain a lot of PowerPoints in winning this game against a Group 1?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. Because Asbury Park had 4 wins. They get 6 plus 7 plus 4 wins. They got around 19 power points. And their OSI moved up because Asbury, I think, was in the 70s or 60 something. So, yeah.
Which leads me to a question. Did Asbury gain more to win the game in PowerPoints?
No.
No? Beating a Group 2?
No, you said Asbury.
Does Asbury gain more PowerPoints by beating Raritan as opposed to Raritan beating Asbury?
Yeah, I mean, Coach, it's not as much as you think because you only get 1 point for group size. So, yeah, I mean, it's just one more point you get beating a Group 2 or Group 1 with the same record, right? No?
So, well, then we can't really yell and scream about them playing a Group 2 then.
It's just not right. Common sense. You don't do it. You don't do it.
I'm in agreement with you. That's why I'm trying to say this. That's what I'm saying.
Coach Brina, president of the Short Conference Football Coaches, I hear all the you can't make everybody happy because you have 42 pieces and then you kind of scrape others together. And unfortunately, it's not good because what happens to a Group 1 school after they play a bigger school is by Wednesday, we're hoping you have your injury report.
You're back to full strength. Right.
Hopefully.
Yep.
And sometimes some of those kids kind of get wide-eyed and they might call it quits one more week.
I agree. Yep.
You don't know. Colts Neck, number 17, 24-21, a good win against a team in their district. The guy, John Runfolo, blocked a potential game-winning field goal with seconds left. Must have been exciting there in a district rivalry game. Howell needed this game big time to get an established playoff picture right there. And they're not out of it yet, but it would have been a real big win against the Colts Neck team that has a lot of power points.
I agree.
This kid jarred him from Howell. 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Nick Vecchiarelli, I'm hearing, as good as he's doing offensively, one of the best safeties out there, too. Just a kid that could play outside linebacker, guy you would like on the edge. Great football player. But Colts Neck's offensive line wears people down, Coach. They play that close to the vest football plays, and they're not throwing deep post and all that. They're smacking you in the mouth and wearing you out, and and teams feel pretty banged up after they play a tough physical Colts Neck game, and that's a good win for Coach. 24-21, beating Howell with that. Cool. Hold on.
18 verse 20.
Number 18, verse 20. Boy, oh boy. Everybody out there, do me one favor. When I pick a team, you don't have to give me the play-by-play and how bad of a pick it was after the first series. Coach, 3 messages I got. 3 messages I got. How could you pick St. John Vianney? North was up, whatever, 6-0, 7-0. 10 minutes later, St. John Vianney's winning. Apparently, I know what I'm doing, right? But that was an even game. It went both ways. North did win. Micaiah Ford's a stud. I mean, Tom Driven North is battle tested. They played Donovan Catholic, Rumson, all those schools over there, Wall, and now they're playing teams out of their division, and they're able to breathe a little easier, right, Coach?
Mm-hmm.
St. John Vianney's been playing tough, but losing a lot of close games.
Oh, they're absolutely. They've been competitive in all these games here, But Tom Driven North, we talked about. We just mentioned Ford, how young they were. That's a big win for them.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start to move the program further down the road on signature wins, where do you turn the corner? What was the one that really started to push you over the mountain, so to speak? This could be that game for that young team right there with Oz. I'm telling you.
They just got 42 points for being St. John Vianney in terms of power points. So
yeah,
you beat a Parothio with them, you get 42 instead of the 28. That's the max with that. Great. Marlboro stamped their surge to the playoffs. Number 19 ranked Marlboro 34-6 to Tom Driver South. They were up 34-0 at halftime on the road. Boy, oh boy, Marlboro wants to make the playoffs. Came out, Coach. Yeah. Came out. AJ Schwartz.
You could see that they came out in this game with a mission. Yep.
AJ Schwartz, another outstanding game, 3 touchdown passes, and ran for another. And they just cruised to beat Tom Driver South, who's banged up with a lot of injuries. They really are. But Marlboro now is one step closer to maybe getting in the playoffs first time since 1999.
1999.
Wow.
Wasn't even married yet.
Really? 1999. Where was I? I was coaching. Yep. I was coaching. But good win for Coach Tagato on beating the Indians on the road for that. You were at this game.
I was coaching too, but I wasn't married. I was married the next year.
Yeah. You were at this game. Freehold 34, Homedale 21. Homedale came in the 16th ranked team in the short conference. Kamor Gill switched from quarterback to receiver, had 11 catches, had a great thing. You said you like Yasin Calhoun at running back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's good.
Yep,
he's good.
That kid out of the backfield where they would leak him out on hot routes out to the empty set and flare him out. I tell you what, he gets out into the edge in a flat. He's gone, man. He is. I mean, they have so many athletes when they're clicking, Freehold, and things are going their way. That's a scary team. And we talked about it before. I was super impressed with the linebacker Ochofsky. I mean, he was all over the field, sideline to sideline, with the defense that they run with Freehold with the 3-3. And that's a tough offense to really prepare against. Homedale runs the ball extremely hard. Their second and third effort that they try that they go with their backs. I mean, they're tough to bring. You're not bringing them down at the first initial impact. You got to wrap, secure, and take with them. Especially the Gallo kid, he's a baller when you see him live. But Freehold played well. This was a great game. It was a really good game.
They needed it. I give him credit for making some changes. There were 3 and 4 at the time, moving your stud quarterback that's running and throwing the ball real well. And to say that he's a better threat as a receiver, what? He had 11 catches and they scored 34 points. Probably used him more of a wildcat type of thing. That's a nice switch they did. But, every coach knows their own program better than other people. But I do know this.
Yeah.
Get Kamor Gill the ball.
Yeah.
Get him the ball. Play him receiver, throw it to him. Quarterback, he gets the ball. He's a stud, Coach. He's a stud. Now,
yeah.
Pinelands played Manchester 34-33 in a shootout. Pinelands wins on the road. They won their fourth game. That was a big win because he played a team in a different division, a rival game, so to speak. Pinelands hasn't been over 500 this late in the season since 2016. Their last winning season Pinelands had was 2004 winning season. So they have a shot now. They get another win next week against Barnegat. Who knows? Manchester had a couple key kids out on the line, but Pinelands took advantage of it. They did. This kid, Mike Hall, playing running back, has made some big gains for their offense, but Ryan Allen, their outstanding junior quarterback, is really up in his game this year as a dual threat quarterback, throwing a little bit, but running the football like 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 a maniac, doing a really nice job.
Totally off topic here. We're talking Pinelands history here, and you would know better than me. You remember the running back that they had that was a 2,000-yard rusher, Ben Bukula?
Yeah.
Is that his brother that's at Donovan Catholic?
It's related, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, wow.
I'm gonna tell you this now. You ready? This is how the game ended. Pinelands, Manchester. Manchester scored a touchdown with a minute 12 left in the game. I saw it. The quarterback shook everybody's hand, handed the football off, and did this. That's all. The official threw a penalty. They just scored a touchdown. It's 34-33. Pushed him back to a 32-yard field goal. And the guy's an all-division kicker and hooked it left. Game over, so to speak. And they lost.
Wow.
They lost over a excessive celebration. All he did this. That's all he did. I saw the film. It's nuts. These officials need to put the flags in their pocket and don't do something that is going to change the whole outcome of the game by doing it. That's a huge call. That's a 32-yard field goal, which is a hard kick to tie the game.
How many times we say with the officials, don't ever be bigger than the game itself?
Do you know why that would never happen to me? Because I don't dance. I don't dance, coach. You ask my wife. I go to a wedding, I stand here like this. So if I got called for excessive dancing in the end zone, my wife would come on the field and yell at the official. Because I don't dance.
You're wrong.
I don't dance. I don't shake for anybody. Not even a touchdown. So that would never happen with me. But that's a tough way to lose the game. Pinelands played tough to win the football game. Credit to them. These are kind of things that you're going to always remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
50 years from now, you're going to be remembered. Hey, you remember that play when this happened here? But you still, you won't remember that your wife told you to get eggs and ham at the store, but you'll remember maybe a call or maybe what a coach's comment might have been after a game or whatever. But that's why us football coaches are crazy. Brick Memorial, Coach Curry never count him out. 31-0 versus Matawan. Connor Dietz, pair of touchdown runs and threw a touchdown pass. And then Jeremiah Crispin had an 80-yard kick return touchdown, which is always great to see. And Jake Gallo led the defense to a shutout win against Matawan. Great win for Brick Memorial. Brick Memorial always seems to play better at the end of the year. Whatever he does, Coach Curry, I think he's an excellent coach, excellent teacher, and he motivates those guys every year. They just play inspiring football, Coach, every year at the end of the year. To me, that's a great coach.
I agree because they keep the kids to buy in.
When I call up Walt on the phone, he motivates me, and we're just talking. I get off the phone, I feel like Rocky. It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's just great. He's awesome, Walt. He really is. Great guy. Great coach, too. Barnegat, 48. Lakewood, 20. I didn't think this game should have happened. JoJo's outstanding. JoJo has 3 records now. He has, for this game, he has 4 records. He has Most yards in the season, 1,172. Most touchdowns in the season, 19. Most touchdowns in the game, he had 6. And I forget the other one, but he's got 4 touchdowns he's got right now. He's a junior. He's dynamic. And Coach Coving's got a nice little running back that he's going to have for the next 2 years. And, they got a lot of skilled kids back for the next year, too. They're 5-3, and they potentially could make the state playoffs pending on, they got to win. And, we'll talk scenarios later on about the playoffs, but that was a good win for Coach Coving. LJ and Lakewood played real tough. It was 20-20 at halftime. 20-20 at halftime it was. And then Barnegat put on 28 straight points to solidify the win. JoJo's outstanding, and he's going to blow out all the records in the next 2 games too with that. So good win for Barnegat with that. Monmouth 20-7 versus Jackson Liberty. A lot closer than I thought. Julian Jones, typical game, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. Evan Booth was Defensive Player of the Week in their division. Their outstanding sophomore defensive back. It was a win. It was a good win for Monmouth. They have a legit shot to make the state playoffs. I would say probably 98% to make the playoffs, and that would be huge for Monmouth. It really was, because they've been down for many, many years, Coach. Freehold Township 16, Tom River East 7. Mark Aguello was on fire in the first quarter, 6 for 7.
He was having a phenomenal year.
6 for 7, 92 yards. Got a little tweak of an injury, comes out, and who does he put in?
Yep.
He puts in freshman Nick Cardone. Coach, so he went from a senior to a sophomore to now a freshman quarterback and won.
Yep.
Nick Cardone was 8 for 13 for 61 yards. I couldn't even imagine what he was thinking, the freshman quarterback. All of a sudden, he's playing and finishing up the game and beating Tom River East. Great job. Omar Francis, the outstanding D tackle, senior, 8 tackles, 3 for loss, was Defensive Player of the Week in the division there. So that was a good win when you get wins with injuries during a game and you're down to your second string. Now you're your third string quarterback. As that as well as I do. That's a good win for Coach Davies. It really is. Coach, this game here, I was scratching my head. Ocean 28, Neptune 0. Ocean's now 1-7. Neptune just beat Brick.
Neptune was on a 2-game winning streak.
Neptune just beat Brick and played Ocean, who we, Coach, we've been played back all our other week talk shows. We thought Ocean was probably the best winless team around.
Agreed. We talked about it with Coach Klein.
A lot of injuries they've had. Maybe they got a lot of guys back, but 28-0. Tyler Douglas, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, 75 yards rushing. Christian LaRose had 2 touchdowns, and the outstanding wide receiver Nick Martinez, 3 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. He's having an outstanding football season. Big win for Ocean. Neptune needs to bounce back this week. They were on a roll, but Ocean is a good football team.
I think too, what happens, and you and I have been around it, especially with a young team like Neptune, they might have started believing their own press for the last 2 weeks. When that happens, that trap game comes down the road. This is a team that they have won. We're going to be able to smoke them, and all of a sudden you got a team that's coached up like they were over at Ocean, have been in big games, and they come play football, and before you blink, what happened?
Not too many teams wanted to play Ocean because they knew that they were a better football team than their record with that. Good win for Coach Klein and the Big Red. Jackson Memorial 14, Brick 8 in OT. Ty Man, 56 yards passing, 47 yards rushing. Game time 2-point conversion, and then he gets the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Also 11 tackles. Rob Panicue, the outstanding linebacker, safety, had 9 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, was Defensive Player of the Week on his performance. And sophomore Albert D'Alessandro, 80-yard receiving and 5 tackles, was the outstanding sophomore in the division. And they're a young football team, Coach. They're a young football team that is going to be even better next year.
And an absolutely brutal schedule.
They lost a lot. They played 6 playoff games this year. They are a good football team. They're a playoff team. They really are. Unfortunately, they have 6 losses, but a lot like Ocean, a lot better than the record, Coach. A lot better than the record. Brick had a tough loss with Neptune and then a tough loss with Jackson the last 2 weeks. They really did with that. Keensburg, 42, Point Beach, 0, playing for the second time. Coach, please pronounce his name.
Mikhail Braithwaite.
What he said. He is great, though. He is great. I can't pronounce his name. I can't. Mikhail Braithwaite. 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 124 yards. You know, what a game. 42-0.
Keensburg is so hard to figure out this year. It's like a tale of 2 teams each week. One week they look like a bunch of barnstormers that'll blow at school's top off with 42, 48 points. And then the following week, they maybe put up 10. It's a weird season with Coach Bird with them this year, you know?
You know what that time is now, right?
It's over, Johnny.
Well, here's what we do from last week's games. It's the best part of the show.
Tell me we had it on record.
Oh, shoot. Oh, my God. Only the people, I don't think everybody knows what we're talking about, but well, I'll tell them right now. Last week, we break up our sections and what we do. We had such a good, it had to be one of the best ones we've ever did. 25 minutes of solid talk. Coach Hoadley and myself, introduction, we're going at it. You were good, I was good. We were going back and forth. It was great. I shut it off and I found out that we were on mute and you couldn't hear us. So we had to redo it last week.
True story.
And it was tough. But you know what? If they did hear it, it would have been outstanding. Trust me, you would have loved it. That was awesome, though. Something we'll laugh about years and years from now. We weren't laughing at the time.
That's right.
Thank God I wasn't filming the language of me too when I found out with that. Wasn't happy, but I did go to confession and I'm good for this week. All right, cool. Let's go right now and let's get the coach's top 20 because I know Coach Kaz is banging at the door real quick.
You got it.
Coach, week 9, coach's top 20 poll that just came out this morning and 2 new faces come in. Other people moving up and down. Go ahead, take the floor. What you got?
Yeah, so we have 2 faces that they're breaking the top 20 this week. Raritan with their big win Friday night over Asbury Park, and Freehold Borough with their win over Homedale Friday night break the top 20 and coming in at 18 and 19 respectively. The big mover this week, though, is Lacey Township with their big win over Central Regional, moving up from 13 all the way up to breaking into the top 10 at 9 now. Big win for the Lacey Lions. After that, everything has basically stayed the same, maybe moving 1 or 2 spots, but the top 10 is basically staying the top 10.
I see one team, and I know he's coming on our show in a couple minutes. He's climbing up to 12. And if you told him, well, you know Coach Guys, he's got so much confidence in himself and his team. He'd probably say we should be higher. But I'm telling you right now, you know that, right? And we'll tell that to him too. Yeah. But he's 12th right now, and he's moving up the ladder. And he's a Group 1 school. Anytime a Group 1 school is in that range where he's at 12,
yeah,
that's pretty impressive. It really is. It really, really is. But, Coach, this is really a solid top 20, and I'm proud to just show people in other areas what we got. This is a lot of good football teams, a lot of teams that are going to make some noise in the playoffs, and even teams that are receiving votes are going to be in the playoffs too. We got some good football in the short conference, a lot to be proud of. This will still move up and down after this week and also into the playoffs. So there's still a lot of jockeying going on to fit in the top 20, right?
And again, we've said this almost ad nauseum about talking about the top 20, why it's really good for short conference football, because it talks about everybody. Mm-hmm. If you did not have this top 20, you would not be talking about 2 Group 1 teams in Asbury and Shore Regional that are in the top 20. or a Group 2 team like Raritan that's in the top 20, or Point Barrow, which they've had one game where they lost. You wouldn't talk about them because we'd be only doing top 10, which are the Group 4s, the 5s, and the parochials, maybe a Group 3 that's really, really good. But that's where we're really strong with this top 20. Everybody's represented here.
Yeah, it really is. And a lot of the divisions are representative too.
Yeah.
With that, a lot of good football, Coach.
Yeah.
I'm always proud when we announce this because it's coming. 27 coaches voted this week. 27. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So 27 coaches with their input picked a solid top 20. Very proud. There's nothing to be ashamed about with anybody on here or who just slipped off it just barely with that, as you can see. But looking at some of the points, there's a lot of teams that are close. Like, look at the bottom. Borough and Asbury have 3 points separating them.
3 points separating.
You have Central and Borough have 2 points separating them. You have Shore and Central with 5 separating them. Lacey, Middletown North, 5. But that football game when they played Lacey, Middletown North, went down to the wire too. So it does make a lot of sense, Coach. Yep. It really, really does. And as you go up top, it's more separated. But there's a lot of competition jockeying for a lot of, basically from the 8 down. It really is.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Coach, let's talk a little state playoffs. I'm on Gridiron, gridiron.com, and I'm going to go over every single bracket very quickly, just what teams are still alive in, with the state playoffs. And a lot still has to happen during the week. Everything's formulas. I don't want to get into detail of it, but, the OSI and the PowerPoints is a percentage into UPR. So let's just go right down each section on what teams are still like in the hunt, Coach. In South,
we are getting to that time. We are getting to that time of the year now where people are starting to think about states.
Yep. All right. So here we are now in the South 1, and we have Shore Regional at number 4. As you can see, my arrow. You have number 8 Asbury Park, and 10 and 9 Keyport.
9
now,
Keyport.
And it takes the top 16 teams and it cuts it in half to make an 18 bracket. So basically, Shore is a number 2 team. They'll be a 4. And then we have, who's the other one? Keyport. There. My buddy, Steve Fence at New Egypt is at 18. They are Ocean County team, but they're not in the Shore Conference with that. So we have those 3 teams that will make the playoffs, but we aren't sure exactly in what order, depending on next week.
Correct.
South 2 is a little. All right, so we have right now Point Borough at 1. We have Raritan at 9. And then we have Monmouth at 14. And then if you could look down at 22, it's Barnegat. And Barnegat has a legit shot to make the playoffs if they can beat Pinelands and a couple teams don't win. If Collinswood beats Cinnamonson and Roselle beats Boundbrook, then Barnegat will not be in the playoffs. So it's very interesting that 2 teams can affect another team winning. But that's a lot of jockeying going around on all the brackets, not just there. And I just had an invested interest in Barnegat and did theirs. But Barnegat probably has a 90% chance of making it if, because the other scenarios have to fall in place. And with that, and Barnegat rightfully so should make the playoffs. So you have 3 teams plus maybe Barnegat as that 4th team, Coach.
And I tell you what, we talked about with the multipliers. Obviously, Raritan having to play RBC.
Yeah.
Sitting at 9 at 3 and 4.
Yep. In a group 3 now, in group 3, we have Rumson at 1. We have Wall at 3. Wow. We have Manasquan at 6. We have Holmdel at 12. And now the interesting part is
Pinelands.
Ocean Township and Pinelands. Now, if Pinelands beats Barnegat, could they make it? I didn't do the scenarios with it. I'm sure it would be close, Coach, because Barnegat's given them a lot of PowerPoints. So I would think Pinelands might have a kind of a shot to make the state playoffs with a win against Barnegat. I'm going to put money on that. So,
but that also tells you how strong of a schedule Ocean Township played this year. That they're sitting with 1 win and 18.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Yeah, one win with 18. And who are the? We'll look at that later. But as you can see, so they're right there, and that bracket is 4 teams making it, and maybe Pinelands
Yep.
if they win. Maybe Pinelands with that. Now in group four, you have Long Branch at 3. You have Lacey at 6, Colts Neck at 7, Central at 9, Freehold Borough at 12, and then Red Bank with Shane Fallon at 16. Very, very interesting thing
And
right there.
Brick on the cusp.
And Brick is right here. Yeah, so Brick's got a chance too. But the thing about Brick is they have a bye week this week.
Yeah.
So they got to hope for other teams to kind of lose and their OSI to go down. So they're at the mercy of other people. So we potentially could have in that bracket 6, maybe 7 teams.
6 short conference, maybe 7 teams. Yeah.
Group 4 has always been a very short conference friendly section. Now, South Jersey 5. South Jersey 5 is right here. You have Manalapan at 5, North, Tom Drive North at 8, Southern at 9, and then scrolling down here, Marlboro at 15. So that is 4 teams that's in, and then Howell might have an outside chance of making it. And I think it's a very slight chance because there's some teams here I don't think are going to budge, but 4 teams are going to make it. It looks like for the 5. Now,
I agree.
Now with that, we go to North 4. And there's only 2 teams, and the 2 teams are from the same district. Middletown South at number 2, and then number 10, you have Middletown North right there. So you got 2 teams from the same district there that are going to be home games potential. Well, Middletown North might not, but Middletown South will with that. Now, let's talk about the non-publics. Coach, you like to...
Before you jump on that, can you please explain to me, I never understood, why is Middletown South and North in a North group?
Coach, it's your northern lines. And where you lie in the state, I don't understand.
Yeah, but Matawan is in a South group, and Middletown is obviously further south than Matawan. I just don't get it, Rob.
I'm going to give you the look that I would give my science teacher in college when she asked me how to use a microscope. I have no answer. None. No answer. Let's get to the parochials.
Go ahead.
Now, they don't go on PowerPoints, yet they show it on Gridiron.
Committee.
They go with a committee, and they go in a room, and they seat it. So Donovan Catholic.
Nobody knows what they talk about.
So the short conference teams, Donovan Catholic and St. John Vianney, will be seated with that. Now, people say it's kind of like the PowerPoint, but it's not. They have in their mind who they want to separate from each other.
Correct.
Let's call a spade a spade. They don't want to put Bergen Catholic and Bosco round 1.
No.
They don't want to. They'll minimize the accomplishments of teams in short conference to spread them out over there. That's what they do. Let's call a spade with that. So you got Donovan Catholic and St. John Vianney that will be reseated instead of looking at the PowerPoints, correct? And then non-public B, I do see this, though. I do see Red Bank Catholic as being the 1 seed. I do.
But again, I don't understand why Red Bank Catholic is in this group. I don't understand it. I mean, I've been in the groups with them before. They were non-public group 3 for the last couple of years with Donovan, with St. John. Why are they down a group? Why are they not up with the other groups? I don't understand.
I'm giving you that baffled look I gave my, my professor. I don't have the answer.
I just don't get it. Same thing with DePaul. DePaul is playing Bergen Catholic and Don Bosco this year, and St. Joseph Montville, but yet they're playing down in non-public. I don't get it. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't have an answer. I mean, if you want, I'll give you the number of the NJSIAA. You can call them up. And
That's why I love doing what I'm doing with my friend on this podcast. I don't have to worry about it no more. So
we're
that's
talking
fine.
a
So
lot
let's go.
about stuff that we don't know about.
So
Well,
go ahead. Yes.
that's
So
your
you got St. Joseph Hamilton, the Wildcats are in this, obviously. DePaul, which I happen to think is probably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the entire state of New Jersey, personally. Hudson Catholic, which actually has a lot of modern day prep kids that transferred up to Hudson Catholic this year. So Holy Spirit is a great team. St. Thomas Aquinas, which was formerly Bishop R. There's a lot of good football right down here. So that top group of 5 is a really good group of football. But Red Bank Catholic sitting up at the top. No question there.
Yes. All right. That was a quick rundown of the state playoffs. We will talk more in depth about it next week, and wishing everybody the very best. And hopefully we can get as many short conference teams in the state playoffs, Coach. All right. I'm proud to have the head football coach from Shore Regional High School, Coach Mark Costantino, the Hall of Fame coach in his 30th year, 197 career wins. Coach, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate what you're doing here with your show and everything else, and it's adding to the Shore Conference.
Awesome, Coach Hoadley. Right? We've been bragging about Shore football the last couple of weeks. We had to get them on. We had to get our ratings up.
And crazy. Coach won't talk about himself, but I've been at many all division meetings with Coach, and there's no bigger, greater supporter than the Shore Conference when it comes to all state for kids getting recognition and all-star games as well. Don't forget about the little guys down here, down the shore.
That's right.
Don't forget about us. So I always give him credit for that. Absolutely.
Coach, we're going to keep you 15 minutes, but we got a lot of football we got to talk in those 15 minutes. Short tradition. Let's talk about it briefly. This is your 30th season, 197 career wins. You're getting to that milestone. Knock on wood. 9 division championships, 7 state titles. 4 state titles, 9 division championships. A lot of tradition, but like Coach Hoadley was saying earlier, the alumni, what you do with the alumni is outstanding. They just seem to come back in drones, and just, it's Shore football is very important to the community.
It is. We're very lucky. Our town, our home games are like the place is packed. The student section is crazy. It's awesome.
Hell's Bells.
What's that?
Hell's Bells.
Yeah, we love it. We come out by the cemetery. That was a tradition started in the early 80s. When I got there, I loved it in 87 as assistant coach, and I just kept it going. I do so many things that I learned from my mentors. We still do the same helmet stickers. We have all the same awards, the team player of the week shirts every week. It's all positive reinforcement, so you got to do it. But my assistant coaches are outstanding, and many of them are ex-players of mine. Yeah.
Yeah,
we talked on it briefly. To me, that's a true signature of what a coach has meant in some players' lives where we've impacted. When you want to see them come back, because we all know we don't do it for the monies because it equals out to pennies per hour. But when they want to come back because they believe that was the structure that created their life and what they were able to do as a man in their life to come back and coach. Again, I remember coaching against Coach back in '98 when Vincelli was at slot and Remedios was on the offensive line. And now they're back doing the same thing, instructing the same type of culture and foundation, what goes on with Blue Devil football that's being passed down. That's really something that you really love to see. And that's what Shore Conference football should be about.
Right.
Coach, I love history. I love history of the Shore Conference. When I was coaching at Barnegat, I did a big study on you guys. We never played each other up until the last, 5 years ago. And I got to see it firsthand. Of all the things I've heard of you, and had a lot of respect for how you went about it. I really did.
I appreciate it.
I really did. And with that being done and said, I want to say this because I've been telling everybody this. I've known you for so many years. And I think this year is your best coaching job you've done in many, many years, just because of who you had coming back. A lot of unknowns, but never doubt a Coach Kaz team, like we always say, because you groom kids up and you coach kids up, and kids believe in what you believe in, the philosophy, and you got them rolling right now at 6-1. But I want to talk about last year. You lost Shane McLaughlin, one of the top football players in the Shore Conference, who's playing at Harvard. He's actually playing this year at Harvard, right?
Yes.
And how important was Shane McLaughlin for your program of this year, seeing him play?
Well, it's awesome because Shane is such a good, positive leader. And as a freshman, we knew he was special. His older brother was on our 2 state champ teams, and he was
Yeah.
an amazing player. His dad played on state champ teams in the early '80s, so
Mhm.
it was a whole tradition. So he was so good to every kid, from the small sophomore to the it was unbelievable. And that whole class was great. They were good leaders, and they worked hard, and and he had many offers, but he wanted to go to Harvard, and that was it, man. And we're proud of him. And he's like my son.
What a great football player, and what a great
story.
what a great kid. I mean, and
Yep.
how he handles himself after the game, and just a great character kid with that. So that was last year. We go into the summer where you and I talked. We both wore our
Yep.
Hawaiian shirts over the summer.
Which I'm wearing again. I'm disappointed, Rob. What the hell?
I'm maturing. I'm
Can
mature.
I say hell on this show? What the hell? You're such a wimp.
Listen. I know I got an excuse. I got wrapped around my ribs. I don't know what his excuse is, but at least I got.
I was going to wear my cowboy hat. You guys, I should have put my cowboy hat on.
You guys are making me laugh. Coach, we talked in the preseason. We talked over the summer. I didn't know what to expect. And between you and I, when I made my prediction, I'm going to say I had you 4th in the division. And it wasn't a disrespect because I just know who you were missing. And I know who everybody else had coming back. And I just thought, and you didn't have a lot of guys back, but you did have that one kid back. And he has impressed me so much. When you had Jamie Mizzako, and you were talking about him very highly in the summer, and he did play last year, but he has elevated his play from last year to this year, and he was second team All Sure last year. May I add?
Yes.
And if I may say so, there is no reason why he is not a first team All Sure, All State type of player this year. Yeah. And I'll go on record saying that.
He certainly is.
Watch the film.
I also think everybody that plays
someone better than him. Go ahead, find someone tougher than him.
No, I agree with you guys with that. But you have Jamie Mizzako coming into the season with a very young team. I know you have some senior kids that I want to talk about in a second too. But yet you were a very youthful team with Jamie Mizzako and a bunch of key seniors keeping it together and having a season like you can't have too many seasons better than 6-1 all the years, Coach. Tell me.
We came in the summer and we have our weight room. We do the same thing for our years, and they work out and then they go do extra because they're unbelievable kids. We start camp and we're like, we had a modifier. We had to do half line drills. We never had to do it before. We had no numbers. We had like 25 kids. Now we have 30. So hopefully, knock on wood, we're staying healthy. But they were tremendous. Like yes sir, no sir. They work harder, which we expect, but they just do it. You could see them get better from the first part of practice till the end of practice. We would do one running play a day and maybe a passing play, and then by the end of the day, cross block looked good. Next day we're doing buck sweep. That may take 3 days. That looked good. So then we start saying, well, we probably can't do any I formation. We're not going to run at people because our linemen are all young and our backs are small. And we have Jamie's going to be the quarterback. I would love to put him in the I or make him a fullback, but I can't. Luckily, we had a kid move in, transfer from Mount Regional Ty Koch. He's a backup quarterback, but he's doing a great job. But we just kept working and moving kids around. And it's all about cross-training. So guys in bigger schools don't have to do this. They sit there and go, well, you're a tight end. Mm-hmm. You're the 4th DB. Well, if you come to my school, we're going to find you a job. I always tell them, what can you do? If you can do it, I'll put you on the field. Mm-hmm. Show me. So that's what we do. And every day they got better. They're great. The leadership, Andrew Decker and Jamie Mizzako are the quarterbacks. They're fantastic. They're all stepping up. Pat Kelly, Liam Rosa, Owen Feely, Namir Jones should be an all-shore. He's an all-shore lineman. I don't know what
we're going to if we can jump right into that with the offensive line, because I know what type of offense is predicated over the last 30 years of trying to coach against it on the defensive side, because you're going to run power sweep, you're going to run crisscross counter, you're going to run buck sweep, and then mix his waggle game into it, but it all starts with the guys up front.
Yeah.
So Namir Jones, who's a tackle nose guard, is an absolute stud.
3-year starter.
Absolute stud. 3-year starter. Controls both sides of the line of scrimmage. Then you have another senior at center, Owen Feely, who creates a lot of leadership on the offensive line. But then you got 2 tight end defensive ends in Whitaker and Furlong that have some size to them that add a little bit of a different look to what goes on with Shore Regional, especially what they do with defense. They'll give you a 30 front, then a 50 front. What goes on, not to give his game plan away, but everybody knows what Cos is going to run. Right. So, but that's what I've seen, especially the size with the athleticism that's going on, mixed in with some seniors in here. That's where a Shore Regional team is starting to come through with the overall mission statement. We're sure this is what we do, and this is how we're going to do it.
Well, we have a couple sophomore linemen who are doing great. We have a freshman lineman, Xavier Morrow. I can't name all the kids, CJ Haney, but they're all gelling, and they're all big, tough kids, and they listen. They're coachable. They listen. Like I said, our secondary, we have 4 kids back there who played last year, and the 3 of them were split ends. Kramer, Alex Kramer, Aiden Scatoro, and Rylan Fegan, who has 4 interceptions. They're great athletes. Then we have Pat Kelly, who's a running back as a senior and safety in our 3-4 package. They're all good, and they make plays.
I love watching. I went to the Barney game, and you had Mazzocco at quarterback and tailback, and Coach Hodes, he was doing it within the series. Like he would be a quarterback one time, then he's playing running back. He's doing this, and it was just flowing. Like they didn't have to take snaps, and I'm good. Like it's incredible. It was incredible.
That's in practice. Every day in practice. When here's my practice plan for tomorrow. I'm not done yet. I'm doing it now. Here's today's. But as I'm doing it, we do personnel groupings, which we never really had to do before, but this year we have to. Yeah. So we're doing that like on the fly. So my assistant coaches who could all be head coaches. So when guys get fired this year and people don't lose their jobs, I'm shocked. ADs don't call me and say, who do you recommend? Because all of my coaches are head coaches, my assistant coaches. They're outstanding. I'm very lucky. Mm-hmm. I really go to practice and, I do very little. I just oversee.
I highly doubt that.
I will say this, Coach. I will say,
today I did a lot.
Coach, we talk about your tradition and alumni, and you got a sophomore, Jackson Whitaker, whose father has been a coach with you for all 30 years. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, he started 31 years ago. He was an all-shore guard for Shore Regional in '88. We were state champs his senior year. I was assistant coach back then, but we beat South Plainfield 9-0 at Shore Regional state championship, and he was an all-shore player. And he came back, volunteered a couple of years, and then I got the head job from Bob Rolak, who was a great mentor. And I said, Mike, do you want to be a varsity line coach? He said, yeah. So he's been with me every day, every win, you name it. And now his son Jackson is just kicking butt. I'm happy for him because I experienced that with my son. My son, about 9-10 years ago, was a great player, and you never know. And he's going to enjoy it. I want him to enjoy it.
That's awesome. And
your son still helps out on the staff?
Yes, he does. He comes mostly game day because he works. He's an environmental.
I know you're proud of him. You told me about him, but that's awesome. That's gorgeous. I mean,
and the kids love him because they remember him playing, and he shows up. He relates to them, and when I lose my mind, he gets it, and they get it.
Now, Kaz, the one thing I love and respect about you is that you have so much confidence, and you believe it, and everybody around you believes it. So I'm going to ask you a question: did you believe you were going to be 6-1 at this point?
I knew we could be. We had to stay healthy. If we stayed healthy, we could be. I didn't know because I knew Barney get brought back a lot. I knew Asbury was tough. I knew Point Burr was absolutely loaded. Right. But I felt we could steal that game. There was a few plays early in the first half that we didn't make. We had a bad snap, and we get wide open. Little things. But they won that game fair and square. But I don't know. I always think we can win every game. 6-1, probably, maybe. I don't want to say no, but yeah, maybe.
Well, I would have signed for 6-1, Coach. I really would have. But
I signed. I'm on. I signed.
All right, Coach. Let's now talk about the state of your program and what you're looking at right now. So next week you're playing Who are you playing this week?
Raritan,
We're playing
at Raritan.
at Raritan Friday night. Now I know they do these pod things, and I don't get it, but I know they try to say you're not really a Group 1 team. I disagree because numbers wise, I'm a Group 1 team. So we're playing up. It's okay. I'll play them. But last week we beat Red Bank Breeze, who's Group 4 with 3 wins, and all we got was 0.4. The state's doing something wrong. How do the schools down south they're playing these crappy Group 1s jump ahead of me? They're making a mistake. Something I'm going to ask is, then why bother? Why is the Shore Conference screwing their small schools? The whole scheduling thing is a joke. It's a joke.
Coach, you need to watch the first part of this podcast.
I will.
Myself and Coach Davis.
I went
go
off.
on
I went
a
off.
complete soapbox talking about what this season has completely dropped the ball and made decisions on a fly where we're just never been.
It's a joke. It's like me saying a week before the season, hey guys, let's watch Madden and pick our offense, because that's what the pod system is. It's a joke. How come I'm not playing the schools that are my size? Because they're afraid of me? I think so. Well, I have no choice. I have to play whoever they give me. 2 years ago, I had a young team. I had Ocean loaded, Raritan loaded, Homedale, and we had 6 concussions in 1 year. Never happened. They don't want to hear that. They're not paying attention to the details because they're not coaches. And we try to talk to them. It's very frustrating, but they're not coaches. And they're taking care of their own programs. And I hope they watch this show and call me, because I am pissed about what they're doing. And you should listen to me.
We talked about this before. I'm telling you.
Lou Priscillo, Joe Martucci, Chuck. We were like, it's an absolute joke. Now, I have 590 kids in my school. I have 30 kids dressed. We will play anybody, but why do we have to?
I think you know what I think that you're.
When do you start worrying about the safety of your players?
Well, this week I'm playing Raritan. Raritan's a good, tough. Anthony's a great coach, good friend of mine. What if I get JD Mazzocco hurt next week? I lose first round playoffs. Hey, there you go. Now that can happen anytime, but I'm just saying, how come I'm not playing schools my size?
Yeah, that's
because we're Shore Regional. I get it, but we're still Group 1.
And I spoke in depth with Coach about this. With the non-public side, which I'm never hypocritical about, and I've told you it's at meetings. Put us in our own division, get us away from the public.
And you know why? They hide. They go, there's an old bylaw.
Yeah,
and
correct.
The Red Bank Catholic AD loves to throw it in everybody's face. Then change the bylaws.
Correct.
They should be in their own league. They should go play North Jersey guys. They'd love to play them, by the way. All my friends would love to come down here and pluck at them.
Yeah, you're right.
But they would rather feast on public schools who don't have the talent pool to draw upon. I have 4 small towns.
I know, and you're drawing from hallways. That's it. You're not drawing from counties, which I know I've done. I agree. Listen, I'll be the first one to say it.
Okay,
if I was in your position, I would have done the same thing back then. I would do, if I was in a parochial, I would do the same thing. But I'm in a small school that offers as many sports as a Group 5 school. So we have kids thinking, well, I'm playing baseball in college. Kid, you can barely throw the ball. Play football. I'm going to be a basketball player. You're 6'3", you're 280. You're not a basketball player. But that's the shit I'm at the start. That's the stuff I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
When we have kids walking the hall who are just not playing, who should be.
Yeah, I get it.
But the Shore Conference doesn't help me, because then the parochials come take your kids. So if I have a losing season, Red Bank Catholic, well, look, hey, bigger stage. Yeah. I have college coaches in my building every day in the off season.
Yeah.
Our school is like a private school. Our education, our teachers at Sharice are the best. There's no parochial school that can touch us. When kids go to Red Bank Catholic, I laugh because first of all,
you just spoke about Shane McLaughlin's going to Harvard, Coach. Harvard.
I had my Connor Rempel, Dartmouth, a couple years ago. Graduate. Are you kidding me? We have kids all the time going to these places every year. But they want to go to Red Bank Catholic because I'm going to Red Bank Catholic, and they don't play. Some play, stay home, win state championships, and be a legendary player at home.
And
How about that?
It's funny how you said that, because you have lost players in the past to parochials,
and we still win.
And that year you still won state championships, which I've always said is a credit to you and your staff. Thank you. That, Coach. It really is. I mean, it really, really is. Now, Coach,
I think these parents get into these little contests. Oh, my son's going to go here. Why go to the great public school that I'm paying taxes for? I'm going to pay another $15,000 to go to a school where the education is nowhere near what we can do for you.
I always said, if you want to It's a scholarship. Go to your school. You don't have to pay a dime. There you
That's
go.
right.
Right?
There it is.
Now, let's
Yep.
talk about the state playoffs because you're back in Group 1, Coach. And for years, you've been in Group 2. You're
Yep.
home. And that's one thing you said to me on the phone. I'm back home. And you
Yep.
were pumped. You're now in the Group 1 bracket. Have you looked at some teams in your field yet?
Great
Maybe.
question. Great question.
Maybe. Yeah. Come on. But there's some great teams down there
There is.
with great history, which I can't wait to play.
Good.
I've always wanted to go out of the short conference and play people. So Paulsboro, Salem, Woodbury.
Have you ever played Paulsboro?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Really?
So, I mean, these are great teams. Like, hopefully, we get to that level with them. In 2015, I had that great team that was undefeated,
Yeah.
and we almost thought Mater Dei was going to not play that one year. And I called Verona, and they're returning a state champ team like we were in 2014. It was 2015, so let's play each other. And they didn't end up not playing us. But I'm like, I'll go to you. Like, I want to play you. It'd be the game of the year. Let's go.
Mhm.
But I want to travel out and play better teams. So,
Good.
Paulsboro, those guys are impressive. I can't wait to maybe see them on the field, and we'll see what happens.
That's
As
great.
a coach, it's got as much, the history of coaching that we all have. Do you think going into Group 1 state playoffs, Mark, playing a predominant Group 2, Group 3 schedule, that has benefited your team?
Group 4 too.
Group 4 too.
Yeah.
Going down to play in the Group 1, that's your so-called battle test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We don't back down. We have not been out hit, out nothing. We don't back
coming
down.
out of the gate 6-1 with it too.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. We don't back down. It's just a matter of dealing with athletes and open space. So I always say South Jersey is like Georgia. It's a wide open area, and there's so many great programs, coaches, and athletes that you just don't know that we've never seen.
Good point.
And the Shore Conference is the only conference in the state that punishes their small schools, where those guys can play small schools. North Jersey plays small schools.
Yes.
Shore Conference doesn't do that.
Mhm.
And when we did cross over Middlesex County,
With
they
the
blew it.
GMAC. Yep, with the
They
GMAC.
blew it because they didn't want to play Mater Dei when they were getting better, and they said no. And now the small schools are like, well, what do we do? Now, Asbury and us, I felt this year got the shaft.
You did.
We're both good schools. Asbury's got to play Raritan and Manasquan in the pot. That's not fair. Why is Barnet playing their teams? Why it's nonsense. And I think it's all politics behind the scenes. And I don't care if they don't like what I say. They can fire me. Go ahead. I'm just saying.
I hear you.
I hear you. But
I'm done with it.
So I would love to see a Paulsboro and Shore team because if that happens, it's going to be in the finals or the semifinals. With that,
well, we don't know yet. We don't know, Rob, because I might be a South Jersey team with the stupid snake system.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You don't know, and that's a
The
shame.
state is out of control with they have no idea. It's out of control.
The snake. You're right. They're not calling it South no more. I think it's a different name. They're not calling it South and Central.
Whatever. Yeah.
Team A, Team B, whatever.
But
It
the
is.
good news is you're playing for an overall group state championship this year.
I think it's next year.
Next year.
Is it next year? Rather, excuse me, next year.
This year you'll still be Central Jersey,
Central
and then
Jersey,
I think you
South,
play
right,
the
right,
South
right, right.
Jersey,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. I welcome that. I mean, I want to be hopefully have success at Raritan and stay healthy, and then get into that first game, second game, and get to a final. But I'm excited about. I love the whole point of my rant was I love playing different schools.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't want to be stuck playing. I mean, your division, but let me go out and play people.
Yeah.
And the Shore Conference, they really handcuff you.
And you want to play people your size and the top level too.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Why not?
You not just want to play anybody. You want to play Paulsboro.
That's why we do what we do.
Salem. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Penns Grove. Penns Grove.
W. I'm not looking for a W. I don't like those games like Shannon when Mater Dei was really bad years ago. Before you guys turned around, it was no fun playing you guys.
Right. I know.
And
it was no fun being on the other side too.
When you guys got real good, you didn't want to play us.
No,
we didn't because
you guys were playing like we played you as tough as we could, but you don't want to play.
We didn't gain anything out of that to get prepared for the end of the season. We know that
it's not going to help you.
Right. Correct.
So, you want to play teams that are comfortable. And I know the Shore Conference is trying, but the politics behind the scenes overrules everything they do.
When you have 42 schools, it's hard to get everybody equally the same
Well,
attention.
is modern day going to have football next year? Does anybody know?
Can't sign on anything with that.
No one knows yet. Yeah, because that would change the whole scheduling situation.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
But I'm tired of the small schools playing each other twice. That's a joke. That's got to end. I'm tired of them playing each other twice. They have to play me in Asbury. That's nonsense. That we have to play. They have to play.
Yeah,
You know, Lakewood's a different situation, but whatever. It's nonsense.
But there was no reason for Keyport to play Keensburg twice or Keensburg to play Point Beach twice.
And then say, hey, we're 7-1. Oh, we're 5-5. Yeah, good. Yeah.
And you're going to remember this. We're talking D division back in the day when it was Shore, Asbury, Keensburg, Keyport, Point Beach. Those were the rivalries. That's
sometimes Rumson. Sometimes Rumson
would drop down. Correct.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rumson was in that division.
They stayed the
or
small
Homedale would drop down once in a while. Homedale would drop down once in a while. You know, but that's it.
That's right, Rumson.
But
I forgot
but
that.
you weren't playing like last year in the pod. I played Tom's River East. I'm like, really? And we should have beat them. We got hurt. Our quarterback got hurt. But same thing. It's like, okay, that's okay. But I'd rather play, Monmouth Regional. I'd rather play this year. My whole schedule is Ocean County. I mean,
That's right.
I played Asbury. Give me a break. Yeah. I was so happy to play Red Bank Regional because they're local. It's a joke. They don't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't care. And it's a matter of it's not good for high school football. And it's hard enough getting kids to play. Then you're saying, well, you're gonna play Pinelands. Well, where's Pinelands? And I'm nothing against them or where's Manchester? I don't know.
So you like regional games, regionally located. Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Play local guys. And then, guys your size.
Yeah. Well.
And don't punish me and my staff for being good coaches.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody sees you as this top dog, and you see yourself.
Come to practice one day and watch what we're doing. Come to practice anytime. Come watch. You'll see. There's no scholarship kids. They're just great kids. They listen. They're gritty. They're tough as hell. They're coachable and they'll run through a wall for you.
Well, I know one thing. There's 6'5".
There's nothing like that.
I know one thing, Coach. You're a young team with a great leader, Mizako. You're 6-1, and you're playing your best ball, and you're getting better every week. That's one thing we all can agree on, right?
I'm proud of them. I'm proud of this team.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Coach, when I was in the bleachers watching the game, the fans were so excited and so proud to be cheering on their team. It was such a great atmosphere. It really was. It really was.
A special place.
It really was. Coach Hodes, you got anything else to say to Coach Kaz?
Mark, does your wife still run the snack stand on Friday nights?
Yes.
I love it.
Do you get any food after the game?
On Friday night game, sure. That's what I'm talking. I would go up there, Scout and Mark, watch what's going on. I would see Mrs. Costantino.
Really?
How you doing, Coach? How are you, Mrs. Costantino? How's things going? We're talking. What do you think next week? Oh, we're doing this. Let me get a pretzel, get a hot chocolate. But that's what I'm talking about with what he's trying to come across. That's what's been built over 30 years.
Right.
Like him or not, I like him. Some people don't. Whatever. This is what it is. It's not going to change. It's successful. It's family. It's foundation. You see it in his assistant coaches. You see it with the programs, with the kids coming through. You see, trust me, it's a quality small school program that should be up on the mountain and relegated to saying that's where you want to be.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Sure, it's all about winning for the last 30 years, man.
Coach knows I'm not trying to downgrade saying small school, but he knows what I'm trying to say with that.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's all good. Thank you.
No, a hard-working school district. Winning is important there. Like Coach has established there, 30 years, 197 wins, and going for titles
as we going into the States to get that 200th, my friend.
Against Billsboro. Tell me that wouldn't be good. Coach, Coach,
trying to win next game.
My first year, we played Paulsboro in the state playoffs. We were Group 1, and we had to play against 3 Division I kids. One of them was the linebacker for Penn State. The other kid was from Delaware, and the other kid, Silvestro, whatever it was, at Rutgers. They were loaded. They were loaded, and we played them
Well, they're
tough.
loaded this year.
They're loaded, Coach. They're loaded. But you know what?
I know.
You're a good program too, and I would put money on you against anybody down there because I know what you're all about. And
I appreciate
your player Mizako can play with anybody. He could be
Oh,
on
yeah.
anybody's team. He could be anybody's starter. He'll be anybody's captain, and he's an outstanding kid right there, Coach. Well, listen, we don't want to take any more time from your video from your huddle, watching your huddle and preparing for your practices.
my practice plans right
Yeah.
here.
I don't want to
So
be
you
blamed
threw
for
the thing
anything.
up, I got to work on practice plans.
Install Tuesday.
Here's your plan. Give it to Mizako. All right. If you do that, you're gonna be fine, Coach. Now go to bed. That's
Not
that.
yet. Yeah.
Coach, again, it's not just me. Other coaches have said the same thing. Your coaching job that you've done has been quite impressive. And I'm
Well,
gonna
it's
say
my assistant coaches are unbelievable, so I can't take credit. But thank you.
well, you know, it's your whole staff with that, but
They're
what a
unbelievable.
remarkable job, 6-1 from what you had, and now everybody knows you have some dudes, sophomores that are going to be pretty good the next couple of years, Coach. You really
Yep.
do. So there are no more surprises with that class.
Well, they
with
shouldn't
that.
be surprised ever when they play us, but I get you.
Coach, you got anything else?
No, sir. Let's let them get to work.
Let's let him get to work, Coach. We're excited for you guys the next 2 weeks, and we're going to be pulling for you the short football report. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you for everything.
You got it, Coach. All right. Good
Thanks,
luck,
guys.
Coach.
Good night.
Thanks again. Coach, here we go. Now let's go with the breakdowns for week 9, the last week before the playoffs.
State playoffs, yep.
The playoffs. You hear me? Let's
Yep.
talk. All right. Let's talk a little bit about these
Amazing
games.
It's amazing we're already at that time of season already, but yep, that's where we're at.
We're going to talk about every program that's playing. First, let's talk about the buys. Teams that I guarantee will not lose this week: Brick and Keensburg. Both
Is that going towards Rob Davis's record for this week of picks?
I predict they will not lose, and I'll add that as a win for that. So, yeah, again to everybody out there, we will not do our picks live because we need a couple days to recover, and we don't want to get bashed for 3 extra days in a week and all that. So,
Or higher security.
I love when I talk about a certain game. Everybody goes, I know he's picking this game, and I pull a heel, I turn it, and I go the other way when I do my picks. So you don't know exactly what I'm thinking, and I might change my mind. You never know.
You're doing a pro wrestling promo.
It may be over a meal. I just might flip.
Yep.
You know what is what it is. But here we go. 6-1 Keyport at 1-7 Point Beach. Again, they're playing for the second time. I love Coach Zaccone's what he's doing with his program and all that stuff. But this is the year of Coach Glesman and Keyport. It is. They have a pretty decent receiver, DJ Thompson. You know he's pretty decent, right? Yeah.
I think this is just the roadway into the playoffs for Keyport for Group 1, 6-1, going in there, take care of business Friday night, and then move it forward to the States. Not anything against Point Beach. They played hard all year for Coach Saccone, but Keyport's got a special year going on right now.
3 guys: DJ Thompson, George Mitchell, Nazir Treadwell.
Yep.
That's tough. That's tough. And Keyport needs to keep boosting their playoff spot with that.
Yep.
Talking about playoffs, is Barnegat 5-3 at Pinelands 4-3, and this is a big game for both teams for the playoffs. It is because you are not making the playoffs with a loss, so you got to take care of your of your game, of your rival game, and then worry about looking at the scores later on to see if you made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are coming in with a good season. They really are. Coach Coving, first year, has really done a really nice job. I'm not surprised about that. And Pinelands with Coach Fuller, great 4-3, and they haven't had a winning record since 2000. What was it? 2004? We said
2004.
Wow. A rivalry game at Pinelands and potentially in the rain. One thing I'm going to guarantee is that there's going to be a lot of soaked bodies on that field. Not me. I'm going to be.
Especially the way both teams try to run the football.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. I'm real. I mean, JoJo Bivens. I mean, the rain neutralizes. You do that, right? The rain will neutralize the favorite. And Barnett's the favorite, without a doubt. They got speed, and they got a lot of playmakers there. So, but the rain can neutralize a lot of that. So,
All I know is moms and dads were not going to want to try to take their sons home after that game in their car once that game's played because it'd be a muddy mess.
exactly. 1-7 Jackson Liberty at Lakewood. 1-6. This is a good matchup of a game. Jackson Liberty and last year Lakewood kind of took it to Liberty. They beat him pretty good. LJ looked pretty good against Barnegat. Played him 20-20. They were leading a couple times in the first half. Just doesn't have the horses behind him to play the second half. Coach.
To finish. Yep.
He had 20, like low 20 number kids and all that. Like they're kind of they're down. I mean, we can say that they're down. Jackson Liberty, plays a stingy defense. Close to the vest offense. This is a toss up. It really is. I think it's going to be low scoring football game. And again, will the rain affect it? Yeah, you darn right it will. But two teams that really deserve to get that second win, and somebody's going to get it on that Saturday. Neptune 1-7 to Neptune 2-4 at 6-2 Monmouth. Coach,
throw it out the way. I don't know what to say here. I don't know.
Listen, I'm going to say this. It's got upset written all over it.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's got upset looking over. I'm talking about the Neptune team that won the 2 games in a row.
Correct.
Not last week. Not last week.
Right.
I mean, could they beat Monmouth? Yeah. That would be a huge win, and with a lot of power points. I don't think they're in the playoff race, Neptune, but that would put a little damper on Monmouth going into the playoffs. Maybe in a different kind of seed if they lose this game.
Yeah.
But if they do win it, they can move up into a pretty decent seed. So this is a big game for Monmouth, but also a scary one because Neptune's a team you don't want to mess around with. They're a lot better than their record shows. A lot better. And I know Coach Duffy's going to have them playing a lot better football than they did against Ocean. Just going to. They have a lot of good athletes. And, they were playing good football prior to it, Coach. They really were with that. Manchester, 2-5 Manchester at 3-5 Freehold Township. Freehold Township had their quarterback out, Aguel. They had Nick Cardone, as we said earlier, was finishing it up. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback this week.
That's what I was just going to say. This story comes down to quarterback here.
I don't know. But
if you find out, will you share with every one of us that have to make the picks of the game?
we all know Coach Davies' phone number. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So you want me to give you some insight of a game? Are you accusing me of knowing a lot more than I lead to?
No, I'm giving a coach a compliment of truly doing his scouting.
Really? So you think my innocent phone calls are a little, prying into my my scouting, so how I could help out?
Would never accuse you that of my friend.
Would you think I would call up and say, "Hey, how's everything going?" With my
you
picks
don't like losing a coin to us, my friend.
What? Yeah, heads I win, tails you lose. But now I got all these coaches are not going to pick up my phone now when they hear this. So I don't know. I don't know which team's going to show up with Freehold Township or the quarterback. Manchester had a bunch of linemen out last game. They're coming back. Manchester's got athletes. It's going to be it could be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
It could be a really high-scoring and a fun game to watch because Manchester's got a lot of athletes. Freehold Township has shown whatever the quarterback is, they still are functioning, throwing the football.
Yeah.
And, they can straighten out the season. They're 3-5, maybe a win and salvage a 500 season. They could. Freehold Township. Good. Toms River East, 1-7 at Matawan, 2-6. Matawan hasn't, beginning of the year they showed a little glimpses of it and kind of faltered a little bit the last couple weeks. Tom DeVries hasn't done anything since the Tom DeVries South game. So
Yeah, I think with Madawan too, they started off strong in the beginning of the year with a couple signature wins, but then because they were so young, and Coach Graber said that the season starts wearing on the younger bodies a little bit. So what happens as you go forward throughout the whole stress of a season, physically and mentally?
again, comparable teams. I think the short conference did a good job with this matchup, Madawan and East. Both teams are I mean, well deserved for that next win. And again, you look at their record after a win, it kind of makes things a little bit more digestible
Yeah.
going into that consolation round. I think Madawan's got too much talent. I think they do. I think they're young, and I think that they got too much talent and too much speed for Tom DeVries. But who knows? What do I know?
And it's a long ride on a Friday night to come up to Madawan.
It really is. So that'll be an interesting game right there between those two guys. Brick Memorial 2-5 coming off a nice win, playing at Ocean 1-7. Again, coming off a nice win.
Yep.
I mean, could Ocean be a team that goes on a nice little winning streak leading into next year with all those young puppies that they have there? Brick Memorial's a young team too, led by Connor Dietz. You know, so this is a big game. It's almost like a bowl game if you think about it, to showcase your talent that you got coming back for next year, and also improving your record this year with that. Two outstanding coaches, Coach Klein of Ocean, Coach Curry at Brick Memorial. Two coaches that have a lot of winning on their resume. So I don't doubt that they're going to get these guys going. That would be a fun game to watch with those two teams right there. Injuries have really affected both teams. It really has, and some tough luck. It really has. So the Ocean game for Brick Memorial is going to be something fun to watch at the Big Red. I never understood why they call it the Big Red.
I don't either, because they were Spartans.
Yeah, but no other team in their school is called Big Red. Only football. Did you know that?
Right. It's the Ocean High School Spartans. Right.
I know that, but we can't, like, in Barnegat, like, everybody's got to be the same for everything, like fundraising.
Right.
But they're Big Red. I like it. No, I take my hat to that. I like that. Good. 2-5 Howell at 19. Frio Borough, who's 4-4. In district rivals. Howell's a better team than 2-5, Coach. They could be 6-1, 5-2, very easily. Very easy. They're playing good ball offensively.
Yeah.
Not stopping a lot of people though. Not stopping a lot of people. And with that being done and said, Frio Borough, and you've seen them up close.
What I saw them, what they did with offense last week by moving Gill out the wide receiver, I mean, that just added a totally different look to their offense.
Right.
He might have found, like you said again, coaches self scout. What are we doing? What can we do differently to get better? This might be a good push to see what goes on for the States now.
I mean, again, it's matchups. I see Howell's defense, who has trouble been stopping people, against Frio Borough, who's an unorthodox offense that has athletes around the perimeter.
Yep.
It might be a bad matchup, Coach. It may, but with that being done and said, Howell can score. So this may be a high scoring game, is what I'm saying. Can I say something? Look for Kamar Gill, all right, to be the difference in this game. He's on offense or defense, just a playmaker. 2-6 Jackson at Marlboro, 5-2. I smell upset.
Upset alert.
I smell upset. I do not look at Jackson as 2-6. I'm looking. I'm like, I need my eye drops because they're better than 2-6.
Because in the last 2 weeks, they're starting to play teams after they got out of that godforsaken schedule that they had, where there was like the SEC. Now they're starting to play teams that they're really, and they're winning. So
yep. Playing a Marlboro team who's 5-2. They had a real nice win against South. Very dominant game with that, but it's hard to bet against Jackson. They're a young football team, Coach. Next year, they're going to be very exciting. but they're in every single football game, and they've won 2 in a row, playing a Marlboro team who's 5-2, looking to further themselves in the playoffs. I'm going to circle this game. I think people are
Yeah.
knowing where I'm going with this, but
Yeah.
this has got a lot of upset written all over it potentially, because
It's a good
it's
test
not
for Marlboro before the playoffs.
it's
Yep.
not it's not a knock against Marlboro. It's just something like I believe in Jackson. You don't lose by 1 point and then 7 points in one game and this and that to those top 5, top 10 teams and think that you're a bad team, because they're not. They're
Correct.
not. They're not. Tom River South 2-6 at Red Bank 3-5. I listen. The way it's looking for Shane Fallon, I see him being 500 in his first year there. I really do, Coach. And he's got a lot of good talent. His junior and sophomore class, his seniors are good leaders. I just see this. I just envision Red Bank vaulting into the offseason on a positive note. I
Yeah.
do. I do. They've played different quarterbacks. They have now Olson, who's the junior, thrown for over 1,000 yards. I mean, they're having fun. They're productive. I just think this is a tough game for a Tom River South team that's been injury riddled. Now they're playing on the road against a Red Bank team, which is excited because they're with a new coach, new philosophy,
New culture. Yep.
new culture. Yep, Red Bank's going to be real tough, I think, in that game. I think so. 6-1, number 12, Shore Regional. We just heard head football coach Kaz on here. He's not shy either, Coach Kaz, is he?
No.
He's not shy. He's not shy. At Raritan 3-4. We love Kaz. I'll tell you right now, after I heard Coach Kaz talk, don't you want to put the uniform on and play for him? And
Yeah.
but he does scare the heck out of me with those Hell's Bells. With coming out of the grave, going near the
They drive right down
cemetery.
past the cemetery. Yep. They
I don't
walk
like
right
that.
past the cemetery. Yep.
I don't like it. I'm gonna make a suggestion. Put a different song on, because it just I don't know what it is. He just scares the hell out of me with that. But they're playing good football, sure. 6-1, going into the playoffs. Now, it's kind of whack that they're playing probably their toughest games. Not a knock against Point Borough, but their toughest games in the last 2 games. Sure.
Correct.
They're
Yep.
playing bigger schools, what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Now they're
Yep.
playing a Raritan team that's kind of right in the middle of the pack in the state playoffs for Group 2. Again, why are they doing it? Why are they playing, Group 1 playing all these tough games? And, but they're playing good football. They really are. They're surprising me every week, and I shouldn't be surprised, because you're looking at Coach Kaz's resume. Who is to doubt Coach Kaz? 197 career wins in 30 years. And Jamie Mazzocco. Jamie Mazzocco right there. I just think this is the year Jamie Mazzocco gets Coach Kaz's 200th.
Yep.
Right? Jamie Mazzocco has done everything this year. Well, I'm telling you this, Jamie. Get him his 200th win. Right?
Listen, for him to say you're talking to coach of 30 years, to label him as one of the top 3 football players that's ever played for his program, think about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty
You know
special.
what that says to me? I wouldn't want to play those other players, those other kids. No way. Those other 2 players that are just as good as Jamie Mazzocco.
Yep.
No way. Good. And Raritan, coach, about Raritan real quick. They're getting healthy. They got Calicari back from the wing, Hutchinson at quarterback, Falzone at running back. They got their receivers all, they're ready for the state playoffs. They're ready. Don't doubt out Raritan. Remember, one of their losses is to RBC.
Yeah.
And I listen. You maybe 40 teams in a short conference would not be favorite if they played RBC. Not a good matchup when you play RBC. So Raritan's kind of proven. Now they're playing teams their size, and now they're having to play a team smaller with that. 3-4 Homedale at 15 Colts Neck, who's 4-3. Coach Rainey does a great job. They're playing tough football. Gallo, Sordo, Batiglia. They're tough, hard-nosed football team playing Colts Neck, who's just a physically big team, Coach. You know, Homedale's tough. They're smaller kids
I was
playing.
just going to say that they're
Colts
tough
neck.
and they blocked well. They block aggressively, but they're not big.
No,
They're not big. Colts neck, on the other hand, is the opposite. I mean, they have size.
a lot of leaning on, a lot of leaning, down blocks.
Yep.
You know, power. You know, you're getting a double team. You're getting double teamed by a guy who's 275, 280. Physical type of kids. That kind of wears on you a little bit right there. But don't doubt Homedale with Coach
Don't count
Ramis,
out the
man.
Hornets.
You can't. He's got him tough. He's got his program philosophy put in place for the last couple years, and I'm a believer with him. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be within 10 points. I'm not going to sit here and say 1 point, but within 10 points. To me, that's a good high school football game. It really is. 6-1, number 14 ranked Point Borough at number 10 Middletown North, 5-2. This is a tough game for Point Borough. Point Borough is having a great year. Point Borough is now playing a Middletown North team who's big. I mean, they're big. They're a big physical team and also athletic. And I think that Coach Steve Bush is probably one of the best offensive play callers in the Shore Conference. I just really love his philosophy and what he does. He's very creative in his things. His quarterback is so efficient, Giannone. I mean, he's going to throw for probably potentially 2,000 yards.
A side note here, both teams coming off unfamiliar territory, coming off losses last week.
Yeah.
You know, so this is where, do they bounce back? Listen, we have the states coming up. We got to get our ship right. We got to get it going. Let's go.
Middletown North played Wall.
Yep.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
You know? So, yeah, both these teams are going to be playing home games probably in the state playoffs too.
Yep.
You know, so good game. 6-1 versus 5-2, 14 ranked versus number 10 with that. I'm excited to see Point Borough playing the state playoffs. Very dynamic football team. They got a shot. They really do. I think the group 2 is a little down than it has been in the past. That it leaves it open for a Point Borough because they're playing very good football. They really are with that. 4-3, number 5 ranked Wall at St. John Vianney 3-5. Coach, I can't figure out St. John Vianney because they're in every game for the most part. They're just losing it right there.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense plays tough. I don't know what it is, but they're right there. They're right there, and they're playing great football teams too. They're not playing slouches.
But they're playing a Wall team that's absolutely clicking right now.
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, is Wall the quietest number 5 ranked team we've ever had?
Yep.
I mean, Coach. I mean, I'm just imagining them walking in the tunnel for Rutgers as the top team in the Shore who hasn't lost in 20, and then all of a sudden people write them off. I don't know.
But yet 9 out of the 11 kids on that defense started last year for the number 1 team in the state of New Jersey. So they've been in this type of season before, meaning this time of year, start getting your game ready for the state playoffs. Let's make a run. They have that senior leadership right now.
I mean, you got Sasso, you got Riley coming back maybe this game or next game. They're going to be fully loaded. You know, Wall's goals are still intact. They're still intact. You know, get by this game with St. John Vianney and go for a state title.
Yep.
And go for another state title with that. I mean, Vianney wins this game. Again, there's seedings. It's seedings. It's not PowerPoint. Could they win over somebody in their bracket, you know, that's doing the seedings that they beat a Wall team? I'd say the answer is yes, right?
True.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in a bracket with Donovan Catholic, who beat Wall. So it's a comparable game. So when they're in the meeting and Donovan Catholic says, we beat them by 17 or 19, whatever it was, and Vianney has to comparable score, we'll say. So this is something that they're playing a team that they can compare with in the meeting, right?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, the number 20th ranked team, Asbury Park, who's 4-3, play number 8th ranked Manasquan, who's 5-2. Interesting game, fun game. You know, athletes at Asbury Park, will probably latch on man to man, take away some RPOs, coach. I think they'll take away some post snap RPO type stuff, right?
Yeah.
But Manasquan can run the football.
Yes, they can.
And I think that people don't realize that, I know Patton is throwing the football around and this and that, but I think if Coach Price wants to run the football and put his finger on the button, just run the football, they can do that. And they're going to need to do that in the state playoffs.
Right.
Right. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. And, Asbury Park and Manasquan will be, an exciting game to watch. But I do like Manasquan's depth at skilled positions, but more importantly, their line. Their line's going to be J.J. Kavanaugh is a dude. I love him. I think Manasquan's defense is going to be put to the test against a very explosive offense of Asbury Park. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Manasquan, because you're not going to see it's this much. I mean, you're going to see speed like this in the playoffs, and Asbury Park is a very athletic team, coach.
Yep.
4-3, Tom Driver North, who's 16th
Southern Regional.
in the Shore for Southern Regional, number 11 in the poll, and 4-3. Now, both teams could potentially play in the playoffs too.
Yep.
So very interesting matchup here. Two teams that traditionally play each other. Two teams that kind of win one year, win one the other year. It's a toss up.
This is an A South game here. Yep.
It's a toss up, and
Yep.
I think it's very important because it separates them in the state playoffs. And who knows? Maybe they will play in the first round. Maybe they'll play in the second round. Maybe they'll be split up. We don't know. But they're right in the mix of potentially meeting up, early or later or whatever. I think both of them would probably rather just you go in one bracket, I go in the other one, and let's do damage on both of them with that.
Yep.
Both teams had to play, tough schedule, especially Tom Driver North. So you never know. I think Tom Driver North is a year away, though. A lot of youth. I think they have enough of talent to keep games close. So I'm not counting them out. But they are a young football team. Southern Regional led by Jaden Brown and Nate Committee. A little senior leadership says a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's at Southern Regional.
Yeah.
Don't count out Chuck Donahue.
No.
Don't. Big game right there in Manahawkin. 5-2, number 7 ranked Manalapan at 13 Central. Boy, Central's got a tough one.
This is good. Yeah.
Coach Pigeon's got him rolling 6-2. Now playing Manalapan, who's going to be a top 5 team in Group 5, playing Central. Right before the state playoffs, Central's got to play a Group 5 school. not a very popular game for them, with that. Not good. Gumbrett is a good football guy, but I mean, it's going to be a little different talent on the other side with Manalapan, coach.
And it's two teams like we talked about before with Barrow and Middletown North. These are two teams coming off of losses last week that they're not used to. With the wins that they've had this year. So both teams coming off of losses last week, moving for state.
One guy I like is Heckle, the quarterback. I think he's really. I mean, and coach, the quarterback position is going to be real tough when we pick these all-star teams.
Wow. Yeah.
We're going to use the word committee. Because I'll tell you right now, when people, I'll be like this, who picked it, right? But Heckle is a dude. He's a leader. We really got good quarterback play in the short conference. We really do. Heckle's doing an outstanding job. I really like how he's been a leader all year. We know about Gumbrett, but Anthony Musso from Central, if there's an all-shore player, I like him. The other guy I like, and you don't hear too much of it from defensive backs until they pick the ball off. But, Coach, as a DB, sometimes you throw the ball to the other side or maybe you got overthrown because you're recovering. Danny Morris is one of the best corners out there for Central. Dynamic player, has a punt return touchdown. I like him. I like Musso. I like Morris. Um, I think they're going to compete with Manalapan. It's going to be a tough game. Central's well coached. It's very
Yeah.
obvious they are, and they have a special team right now. So who knows? Maybe they'll see what they're made of before going into the playoffs. I know
Yeah.
that it'll be a good game. It's at Central. Who
That's
knows? But
Central.
Manalapan might want to bounce back though after that RBC game, Coach.
Yeah.
5-2 Lacey, who's number 9 in the Shore, versus number 6 Middletown South, who's 5-1.
Talk about trying to run the football and play defense. This is the game right here.
It's going to be a quick game. There'll be a quick. So if the game lasts an hour, I wouldn't be surprised because
Right.
their ball will not be in the air too much. And
Nope.
to add the fact it might rain.
Yeah. Great.
But
you're playing on turf at South.
even though you call it the swamp,
Correct. And we've talked about this. Yep.
you call it the swamp, but you're really not muddy.
Nope. You're playing on turf. Yep.
I have a problem with that.
I know. We
It's
talked about when
false-
Nooch was on our team.
False, and I told him that. False advertisement. Don't tell me it's a swamp, but you don't get muddy. Right? I mean, right? It doesn't go no more. It doesn't go. They got to give it a different name. That's intimidating on the swamp, though. But two good defense. No, I'm going to say this: Middletown South's defense versus Lacey's offense. Lacey dominated the line of play last game against Central. Middletown South has got that stingy defense. Their offense, though, has not. I think they're averaging 205 yards a game. They definitely play through their defense, Coach.
Yeah.
Lacey's defense has also been a little, friendly to the other team, allowing a lot of yardage in the other games. So who knows what this game's going to be like? I think it's going to be a close game. I think I could see it being a 14-point game. I don't know, Hill. You thought I was going to say closer. I just see it.
I think this game might have a total of 14 points scored in the game.
Wow. Maybe. Good game. Two good coaches, legendary coaches, Antonucci and Coach Frizzillo. I'm excited about it. Rumson, 6-1, number 2 ranked team at number 4 Long Branch, the Danny George Tour.
Coming off a bye, right?
Coming off a bye. I am
undefeated at home versus Rumson Fairhaven.
Wow. I'm afraid to bring him on the show here. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah.
Right? He don't need us. He's undefeated without us. But if he does lose the game, I'm getting his butt on here because he needs us. He needs us. But listen, you're 6-0. I know Coach George wants to see where he stands playing a Rumson team he's played in the past. Poor Rumson. I mean, Rumson just plays like
week after week.
I get it. Like there's no cream puffs.
No.
No cream puffs. Two teams that could win a state championship. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You want to see teams that potentially could win a state championship? You got Rumson and Long Branch. That if you look those kids in the eyes, they believe they can win a state championship.
Yep.
And also you look at those coaches in the eyes because they'll say the same thing.
Yep.
And good. I mean, you got the top 4 teams all playing each other this week.
Yes, we do.
I'll say this with the athletic directors, they did a good job with these games.
Not last week, but these games.
No. And again, Coach, with all due respect, when you have 42 teams, you can't be right in 21 games because the match. There's going to be a pile of people you gotta, and then those are the people that are vowing, "Hey, this ain't right, this and that." It's so hard to make everybody happy.
I know.
I can't make everybody happy in my own house. I have one TV selector, right here.
Right.
I got 3 girls in the house, and they have 5 suggestions what we should watch, and none of them are mine. No football. We want to watch this. We want to watch that. I can't make everybody happy. So if you're an AD, how do you make 42 people happy?
I agree, but when we're at that position of when you oversee these teams, aren't you in charge of the task to make sure that there's the safety and the parity? Did you look out for the same team that's number 40, the same team that's number 1?
True. We always use that word safety, and boy, that's an alert to people. There are buzzwords that you can say to do it.
Correct.
But Rumson Long Branch is going to be a great game. This will be a close game. This will be within 10 points.
This is a great game right here too. Yep.
I want to see how good Long Branch is.
Yeah, this is a good I agree. That's a good point.
I want to see how good Long Branch is. And this is going to be a fun game for both teams. Yeah, I mean, Rumson's probably like, enough with the fun games. Can we please, can we have a bye?
Yeah.
The last game, drum roll, please.
Donovan Catholic at Red Bank Catholic.
The number 3 ranked team versus the number 1 ranked team. The 2 top parochials in the short conference are playing at RBC. And you said the parking's tough there?
Oh, listen, for this game right here, and as many games as I've coached there at Basie Field, if you want to try to get in there and get somewhat of a spot within a 5 to 6 block radius, you're going to have to get there by 5:30.
Wow.
If you show up 6:30, you might as well try to take the train over to Basie to try to find a spot there, because you won't.
You know what? I might flip a coin to see who I'm going to pick in this game. I'm not going to lie. It's that close.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my thoughts close to my vest before the picks.
It's going to come out Friday morning. You know that.
Yeah, it will.
Let me say one thing. They both have explosive players on the team. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
They both have physical lines.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Both teams could do damage in the playoffs. Okay, so there's a lot of checks. So wouldn't you think the home team would have an advantage? If everything's a check. Doesn't work that way, does it?
No. Because I'll tell you, when it talks to the home team has an advantage, rewind a week, when I went to RBC versus Rumson,
right,
there was as many RBC people at that Rumson game, and RBC beat Rumson. I think that this game right here, I really, truly think this game is going to come down to field position and special teams.
I'm going to say a guy's name. You tell me what you think. Drake.
Yeah, fast.
Okay, I was going to say good.
Well, listen,
I haven't heard his name as much as in the beginning of the year, because I don't think they need him.
He had an 84-yard touchdown run last week. So
he had only one of those. So big deal.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of talent that goes on over at Donovan right now. But yeah, I mean, again, that's why I'm talking about with special
Here's
teams.
another kid. How about on the other side, Raymond? That wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
Rajman is Raymond.
Rahman.
Quietly having a very good year.
We said that. He's very quiet under the radar this year.
I'm waiting for him to have one of those 8 catches, 165, 3 touchdown game. You know what I'm saying? But he's quietly gotten his stats. I mean, he's one of the elite players in the short conference, without a doubt. All sure. But I'm waiting for him to have that wow game.
Yep.
RBC they didn't need him to do it. They're splitting the ball. They're throwing it all over the place. 3 different running backs. They're having fun. They're, it's almost like they have it scripted who's coming in the game at certain times. But
I think that's a main point you just touched on. I'm eager to see how Donovan Catholic goes against the 3-headed monster at running back at RBC, because now with the addition of the Harmon kid at running back, and I saw live between Portella, Harmon, and Cooper, and then you mix in Brown to Rahman, Brown to Bauman, spreading the ball on the outside. I'm eager to see how Donovan Catholic plays this.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a big game.
It's going to be a showcase.
Donovan Catholic has an explosive offense. RBC is, people say RBC is like a power, but they're explosive too. They're explosive too.
Yep.
Both teams got playmakers that can take it to the house.
Yep.
Didn't they play 2 years ago, or was it last year? Last
Oh,
year.
last year.
What was the score? Do you know?
I forget offhand, but Donovan beat RBC to get into the pod. We lost to Wall. Donovan beat RBC, and Wall played Donovan.
I'm just trying to figure out.
There's no need to really start scraping up old wounds here, Rob.
That's all I'm trying to say is it's that RBC lost to him last year.
Yep.
RBC's playing home.
Yep.
RBC has a couple players that weren't there last year that are pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm still up in here. I don't know who's gonna. I don't know. That's gonna be a great game. I wish I can go there. Is that a Friday night?
Friday night game.
Can you call them up and tell them make it a Thursday?
I'll try my best.
Because I could definitely squeeze them in on a Thursday. I can't go Friday. I can't. Oh man!
Yep.
Thank God for Huddle. Thank God for Huddle.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll give you updates from this game. I will be at this game on Friday night.
Well, I mean, star power. You got Brown, Butler. You got Bukala. You got the three-headed monster at running back over there. Their linemen with Karan McNair, with Carpenter, and
Yep.
all that. I mean, just it's like
You got
I get it.
Rahman at wide receiver, Drake at wide receiver. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Does one team have more guys that go one way than the other?
That's why I think it comes down to special teams and field position. I really do.
Does Donovan even have a punter? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Does
Rumson
does RBC have a punter?
RBC does.
Do both teams practice and say we don't need to punt because we're not punting in the game? I'm
Yeah.
not being funny. I'm curious.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see a team punt. No, we know that RBC's got a darn good one, Jacobson. Yeah, he can kick it a mile. Well, it's going to be a great game. It really is.
Yep.
The two top teams, or listen, the winner of this, if Donovan wins, do they go to number one? It's
no comment.
I mean, who knows? It's going to draw. I mean, everybody's going to want a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's that. Good football this week. I'm going to let you know this. I am so tired. I am so tired, man. Whew. You are banged up.
Listen, I can't wait to get out of this chair right now and stretch and walk around right now.
I listen. If anybody's watching the end of this, they're seeing you're beat up, your ribs.
Oh.
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm putting people to sleep. I don't know if people are going to call me up and say, "Are you guys okay?"
Yeah.
I'm tired. You're hurt. I'm tired. We got to recover, man, and we got to give. It's playoff time next week.
I got to get ready for Friday night.
Don't fall down.
Yeah.
Do not fall down. Well, had a lot of fun again. We had a great talk with Coach Kaz. We talked a little state playoffs. You saw our coach's top 20. It's really getting concrete. It's solid. I really like it. I'm gonna say I hope and I wish the best for all my staff on this on the Shore Football Report. The very best in their weekly picks. If you need any help, you can dial up 1-800. I'm number one, and it goes right to my phone. And that's that. I am number one right now with weekly picks. I probably jinxed myself, but one time I want to be perfect. I always get two wrong. It bothers me. Am I a perfectionist or what?
No, that's tough.
2.
I know.
Think of that.
Out of 19.
Out of 19. And they're tough games and they're comparable games. I got 2 wrong.
Right. These are paired up teams that are real comparable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're claiming I get some inside tip.
Oh, you absolutely get inside tips.
There's a lot of sandbaggers in the Shark Conference.
But listen, we both are coaches. If you're not trying to cheat, you ain't trying to win.
Oh, yeah. I am pretty, I will admit this. I got a way of words to get, to really kind of get my picks in the right direction. There's a way like, hey, hoping's all well is I know how to say it. Let's put it that way. And they after they hear this, they probably never talk to me again. But
yeah, now they're knocking it all fruit up. Yep.
all right, I'm pumped, man. I can't wait to have this on tomorrow morning. Make sure you keep promoting it. This is Coach Hoadley and Coach Davis sounding off. Week 9 special.
Wow. Week 9.
We're getting old, man. Our baby product, our Shore Football Report is getting old, man.
Yep.
Maybe retirement with that. So I got one question for you though. How you doing without coaching varsity this year? You. How you feel? How do you wake up in the morning? How do you feel like when I'm depressed?
I'm depressed. I again, we talked about, I don't miss the grind on Sunday of having to spend 7 hours or 6 hours in film.
Right.
What I do miss is the Thursday tightening up defensive plans or offensive plans, going through the walkthrough on Friday right before, and then playing the game on Saturday. Or that I miss, and I definitely 1,000%. I saw it at Rumson. I miss being under the lights, making that call or making that non-call, so to speak, of what you're going to be. But more importantly, just being around the emotions of the kids in a varsity atmosphere. That's what you miss a little bit as a coach. You know as well as I do. You build bonds and relationships and brotherhood inside those lockers, man, that no other sport could ever compare. Ever compare.
I've been away from football for the first time since 8th grade, and I miss it. God darn, do I miss it, man. I got to get back. I mean, I got to take the Shore Football Report and go into a different direction and go forward with it, or I got to get back and put my hat on and coach again because
Yeah.
it's just I miss it, man. Friday night football is. I'm so jealous of every coach out there, and I love them.
Yeah.
They're doing, because I'm jealous the fact that these guys get to coach the greatest sport out there. The kids, the bonding, I love it, man. I miss it. I mean, here I am retweeting and texting like, "Ooh, good." Like that's not. It's not filling me up.
No, it's not.
Hopefully everybody's enjoying our product and keep spreading the word here and all that. And who knows? We just want to. We do hope that we're doing the right stuff for everybody, and take it So I mean, the numbers are high in terms of our view count, but sometimes we need to hear or see positive stuff to make sure that we know we're going in the right direction.
Agreed.
All right, so we good? Go rest yourself.
Always a pleasure,
and
Coach.
better yet, go start preparing for your picks, and I want them in by two days. Right? Make sure you guys zoom in on Shore Football Report for stats too for updated stats by every Thursday. All right?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Bye, Coach.
Bye.